3, 2, 1.
Profiteering mega corporations provide protection and jobs to anyone who abides by their policies.
Hello and welcome back to Core. This is Core talking about video games and the games we're playing and the industry at large. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. Today we got to start with a little bit of a clip, okay? John, this is for you.
Okay.
I don't even know why I'm doing this. My wife last night, we're sitting on the couch, kind of, cooling down for the night. We're like, yeah, we're done.
Yep.
Dogs are fed. They're chilling now. We're going to just chill. And she's watching Gilmore Girls because she likes that show, and she's seen it like 8 times over. Whatever. That's not a problem, and it's nothing to do with this story. But meanwhile, I'm over in the other corner. I'm kind of just flicking through videos, checking my feeds, watching a little TikTok here and there. Somebody made a TikTok video that featured me talking, but altered the sound of my voice. And I play it, and I'm kind of giggling, and Kim goes, "Is that John?" That's what she says. And I go, "No." She goes, "You think that's John?" She goes, "Yeah, play it again." And she's not looking at it, so she doesn't know it's me. I hit play again. She hears it again. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I would have sworn that was John Jagger." So I'm going to play it for you now, and you tell me if you think you sound like this.
Okay.
And Bo as well, because Bo, you're
I'll know, because if it makes me feel uncomfortable, then it sounds like my voice.
So here it is. They altered my voice, and she thinks I sounded like John. So here you go.
There is a new one called, it may not even be new. What's it called? Shoot. What do you call it when somebody eats only meat? Carnivore diet. Carnivore diet.
All right.
It sounds like if I had a baby with, what's his name? H. John Benjamin. Sounds like if we had a baby together, that's what it would sound like.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mistake that for John.
I wouldn't think so either. But she was like insistent. And
It's me adjacent. It's like if you took the things I don't like about my voice and turned it up a couple degrees. That's what it sounds
Yeah, it's
like.
really weird.
Isn't everyone's voice like that? If it was only shaped in the way that it was necessary for this, then it would sound like that.
Yeah, that's
I
a
don't
fair
know.
point. I think
But there's a bit of me in there, Scott.
Yeah.
There's a bit of me.
A little bit of you.
Maybe.
Voice.
Yeah,
A little bit, tiny bit. Shoujo Beat, I believe, in our chat and in our community is the one that put that up there. So thank you for doing that.
well, thank you for that.
We're going to get to the big news of this week, and we're going to do it now. It's a big week for PlayStation. It's actually kind of a quiet week for almost everything else. But we got some things today. And the major thing that happened this week was PlayStation made something official. And then also we found out some sort of sad news about the ongoing projects over there. We'll get to that in a second. But Sony announced the PlayStation VR. We have a price. We have a pre-order date. We have release dates. It comes with a free code to that Horizon Mountain thing. I forgot the full name of that. Horizon Forbidden Mountain. What is it? Let's see. I'm going to find it. This is going to be great. I promise. Where is it? It'll be worth the wait.
Horizon Fios.
Horizon. Damn it. Horizon Damn it is it.
Something
is the
about the mountain? Isn't
yeah,
it something about a mountain?
It is a mountain in there.
Horizon.
To the mountain.
Climb that mountain.
Climb that mountain.
Running up that mountain.
Running up that hill. I can't find it. Anyway, whatever that thing's called, you get a voucher when you buy the thing, and it is part of it. If you haven't been following the release of this thing or the drip feed news on it, the one thing we were missing for the longest time was like, what's this thing going to cost? Well, we now know it's going to be $549.99, which also comes out February 22nd. It's officially that is more, unless Sony has plans for raising the PS5 price even more. But the PlayStation 5 currently costs less than this headset does, which means you're putting yourself at around $1,200 to buy both, or to add this to your PS5. And the other thing of note is it does not allow for any play of any other games that you have with your PlayStation VR 1. None of those games are compatible. So this is 100% like, hey, sorry, you got to start fresh, which is kind of a Sony thing. In this case, there's a bunch of new tech in this device, which makes it rad, but also probably forced this problem of this isn't going to work with your old games. There are a bunch of people that aren't happy about that, but then, again, Sony's reputation for backwards compatibility is a little sketchy anyway. But Bo is our resident VR evangelist, I'll call you. All right. How do you feel about this? Price point seems a little high. Seems seems up there.
I think it's still inexpensive from a VR. If you splay out all the headsets in the range, it's still one of the cheaper ones, I think.
Yeah.
For why, it just depends on how you value it. It is a niche product. Not everyone's gonna I don't know, rush out and pick it up. I mean, it depends. Sometimes stuff like this can finally interest a more average consumer. Like, oh, PlayStation's releasing it. It'll just work on my PlayStation. Now I'll buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to finagle with the Steam and Oculus store and hooking it up to my PC. And if you haven't tried the Quest, you could be forgiven for not quite understanding how easy it is to just buy shit on the Quest and use it. Like, it's a console.
Right.
So I could see this being appealing. I don't know how many Quests get sold over in Eastern markets as well, so this may have a dominance in certain zones as the cheap headset option for people in Japan and
Sure.
and Asia. So I don't know, and I think one thing we do say about PlayStation, even though we don't often have a lot of compliments for them, is their first party flagship games are really good, and in VR that's a huge selling point. One of the things I lament often is how these VR games are reviewed great, but it's because it's one of few experiences people have, so of course everything feels novel.
Yeah.
But after playing Alex, I see a lot of criticisms along other games. I'm like, even just as small as an Alex, I can just turn the door handle, push the door out with one hand, and then put my gun out. I have this huge, I'm doing a lot as if it was in real life, and then other games, it's like I'm playing Walking Dead right now, and I have to actually put my hand on the handle, turn, and open it all. I can't do. I'm like, this is easy. Why I can do it, Alex? Why can't I do it here? Well, you don't program it; it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of thinking the PlayStation may win on its software because they're developing, games to support the headset, which that's literally what Alex did for their headset. It's not only a showcase, but it's to have an awesome piece of software that sets the bar along with the headset. So if PlayStation accomplishes that, this actually might be a really preem piece of hardware. Actually,
Could be.
Yeah.
By the way,
not that expensive compared to other ones.
The Horizon game we were trying to mention is Horizon Call of the Mountain. So there's that correction. Here are the other games that you could probably get excited about, I suppose. These are the 11 that will be there on launch in February. The Dark Pictures Switchback VR. So it's those Dark Pictures people making the horror games. Cool. Switchback VR, whatever that is. Cities VR Enhanced. Don't know what that is. Probably a city builder or something. Crossfire Sierra Squad. The Light Brigade. Cosmonius High.
Cosmonius High.
Sounds like an anime with a bunch of kids. I could be wrong. I don't know, and I don't know why this guy's talking like this. Give me your.
Oh, I think I've seen that. I don't think that's an exclusive one. I know what that is. I think
you've heard of that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
on Steam. Yeah, for
Here's
sure.
Here's some others that we knew that have been in other stuff too, like Hello Neighbor, Search and Rescue is a thing that's coming to all VR platforms. Jurassic World Aftermath, same. Pistol Whip VR. Pistol Whip's already on Quest 2 and so on. So that's a thing.
There was an era in cell phones, when they were first launching, where a lot of people like to shit on it. Like, what do you got a cell phone for? It's payphones everywhere. Just giving them money. I mean, now I can't find a person that doesn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
So that's why I just don't sit on the bench of the stuff's expensive, the stuff is whatever. It's like this stuff is coming. There's way too many first party people behind this. There's a lot of momentum, we just not quite there. Remember there was a time when cell phones were just black and white pixels, right? Like you just had these black and white LED screens.
Yeah.
Now I'm playing Marvel Snap on it. I'm almost preferring the phone experience to playing it.
The larger scheme of things, it wasn't even that long ago, even that was the case. So no, I agree with you on that front. My thing is more, can Sony all right, two things here. When the PlayStation VR 1 was a successful effort by them. They did well with it. It didn't sell 1-to-1 with every console, but it did higher than most accessories. Accessories, famously, they never quite reach the volume that the device sells for, or sells numbers of. So let's say there are 50 million PlayStation 2s sold. You might have found, 5% of those went further and bought like the internet kit for it, or the external hard drive, or whatever accessories are available. That's just kind of rare to sell very many of them, because they just don't think like PC people. That's not normal for consoles. PSVR 1 kind of broke that mold and did really well. It wasn't 1-to-1, but they sold a lot of those devices, and it was generally, for the most part, well regarded, with some caveats and issues, mostly to do with control and some tracking stuff and wires and stuff. I think the problem, though, is now we're already talking about a new generation of consoles and a PlayStation 5 that's already still hard to get, and now this device being more money than the current console, and no backwards compatibility, which means you're kind of starting over. There's no ecosystem to build on top of. So I just worry about their chances of selling enough of these to make VR a spearheaded thing for them, like that they're really serious about.
Yeah, I would say for me, I think that unless this is your niche, this is a silly purchase to make. This is a little ridiculous to me, because I think that the price is high, which is fine if you're going to get into VR. It's an expensive thing to buy into across the board. But I think whether or not it was for technical reasons, and by all accounts it was, not being backwards compatible sends a message that, okay, these are your games for the lifetime of the PS5, for however long that is. And it's a gamble as to whether PSVR 2 will be compatible with whatever comes next.
Yeah.
Whether you're going to have to start this process all over again. And that is a huge, huge buy-in for a lot of people to be a beta tester for a technology.
Yeah.
And I think that what made the PSVR original so good was it was priced at a point where you could tell people, like, yeah, get it and try it. Like, yeah, it's a little bit pricey, but like if you're curious, it was worth getting in on. This is now at a price where it's kind of saying like, no, we're a headset, just like those other headsets. We're a headset. We're here to be serious. But those other headsets, I think they have longevity. Now, eventually the technology could scale and go beyond the scope of what they are. Maybe there does become a point where there's a lack of backwards compatibility or something. But in a PC market, I feel like that tail is longer. You get more support on a PC side. Whereas with PlayStation, I feel like, maybe you get the life cycle of the system, and hopefully you get more than that.
Well, also the way that the current meta models and Vives and other stuff that exist out there, they're a little bit they're a little more multi-purpose. You can take that thing on a road trip if you want. You can take it anywhere and that thing's going to work. It has its own ecosystem, but also you can plop down in front of your PC and tether that thing with a USB-C cable, and bam, now you have access to this giant Steam library, or the PC version of the Oculus library, or whatever else that gets thrown at you. You just have more use cases, whereas this PlayStation device is 100% nothing without it being plugged into a PlayStation 5. It doesn't exist without it, and there's no other way to use it. Someone will probably hack a way to have it tether on a PC, and you'll have to jump through some hoops to do that.
Yeah, but then you have to ask yourself, is that something you want to get into too? And I don't know, maybe if you're the kind of person that wants to get in on the beta version of technology, like maybe that's not a big deal or a big ask for you. But I think the strength of PlayStation doing VR is that does have a reach into the consumer market. I have a friend that is not a big gamer. He plays very, very casually. He doesn't have to have the new shiny. Like, that's not his mentality. He's pretty happy with what he has across the board. He has a PlayStation VR. He has it because it was at a price point. It meshed with the system really well. There was a logic to it. And he has one. and he is not the kind of person to go out and get it, I guarantee you, well, first of all, he doesn't even have a PS5, but this would never be a technology for him because it's not going to fall in that same like consumer level. It's going to fall again into more of that niche that VR in general is at this stage.
At this stage, yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's good that they're trying to move the technology forward. You know, that's what everybody's kind of trying to do. But I do think that the decisions they've made around this are not the most consumer friendly decisions. And I can see it scaring a lot of people off. Like my parents are looking to buy VR. And I told them to wait because I was curious what Meta was going to be doing. And I knew we were going to find out more information about the PSVR 2. They have the PlayStation 5 that I'm going to steal at some point. Like all these things are true. So I was kind of like keeping an eye out for it. I'm not going to recommend the PSVR 2 to them. Like, no, absolutely not. I'm going to probably recommend something else now that I've seen what this is. And I think a lot of people are going to make that decision too. Whereas before I knew this information, that's probably the way I would have leaned because it goes with the console they already have. And,
Right.
you know, PSVR was so consumer friendly that it felt like a logical step. This feels like a step back from that.
Yeah, $299 might have been a slam dunk, and I know that they would lose massive money on that. I'm not saying they should, or you know, they got to do whatever they got to do. But if this thing was $300, I think they would have been. I'd have a very different tone about it. I think that would have been a really great price. I think almost 600 is pushing it, and that's like what, close to 800 in Canadian. Don't forget those Canadian dollars, Bo. You guys and your inflated weird currency.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it'll be a lot more
Yeah.
Canadian. I mean, the Quest is better. I mean, one thing we underestimate too is kids. I know when I play Quest only version of VR chat, it's all kids.
Oh yeah.
All kids. It might not be our kids. We might not have any sense of what's going on, but I'm telling you, I get in a VR chat and there's 80 people, or not 80, but 40 people in a room, and it's all, hey guys, go, you're lame, you know, or much worse than that. Like, go F yourself.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why you look so ugly? Like, you know, just like you go into these rooms and I'm like, it's all kids. And I'm like, you know, the people, if I were just to judge based on people I know, no one's giving their kids headsets. But you go in there and you're like, well, there's certainly a lot of kids getting headsets.
Yeah.
So I'd almost recommend, if you're worried about things like VR chat and Horizon Worlds and you sending your kids in there, it's probably better to get, say, the PlayStation VR headset because VR chat's probably not going to be on it.
Yeah.
You know, so it might be at least a safer toy for your child.
Sure. I saw somebody in VR chat once above there, or maybe it wasn't VR. It was the rec room one that a bunch of people like. Same kind of situation. It's all kids, and I go in there, and I hear this kid talking who's probably 9 or 10, just saying the most foul things I've ever heard come out of anyone's mouth, adult or not. But above their head, their name was like Virginia Wilson or something.
Right, it's their mom's.
It's their mom. Yeah, their freaking mom's headset, and they're just freaking borrowing it and saying the worst things they can online. But yeah, welcome to VR. The current state.
You know, it's also another thing too. Is just like the kid, like you would think, like I would think that stupid Wii exercise pad, no one would buy it, and people bought it. So
people,
I can see it going both ways. You know, just it's hard to predict, but I mean, if you're gonna buy a headset, buy a Quest, like 100%.
Yeah, I would right now too. Even the $100 more that it costs now, I'd still say that's your best.
John's
bet.
right about that. It's just you know, even for recommendations for his parents, want to get into it, spend less and get the real deal in the Quest 2 over. This might look better, but it will have reduced functionality in a lot of ways and be more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it feels like a bad bet on how future compatible it is.
Yeah,
where,
that's a
the
whole.
Quest, I think will remain relevant for longer.
I agree. The Quest, even the Quest 1, is still more capable in the market it's in than PlayStation VR 1 is. I mean, the VR 1 is only good as you're firing up your PlayStation 4 and playing the stuff you bought on there, and that's as far as you're going to go. And I just don't think that's great value for the money.
I mean,
but good luck.
To be fair, anything new is not working on Quest 1 anymore. But
well, that's true.
There's a similar problem there, but
right.
know.
Yeah, and it's more truncated than like an actual PC. That's a much longer tail. VR is too new, and we're jumping through big changes per iteration of each time a new model comes out. So that's to be expected. And John alluded to that. I just think it's Also, Sony first party needs to show me what they have up their sleeve right now. And to their credit, that Up the Mountain game, I already forgot the name.
Up the mountain.
Whatever it is, the mountain
All
thing,
of the mountain.
all of the whole mountain is
All of the mountain. Yeah.
Call of the Mountain. There it is.
All the mountain.
All the mountains.
100%.
All mountains everywhere. All
Yeah,
at once.
all mountains matter. Anyway, the mountains, the mountain game, apparently by all accounts, by people who've just demoed the thing, say it's incredible, that it's really, really good. So that's a good sign from the first party side of things. They own a lot of cool studios who can do a lot of cool work on there. So this all might be a moot point if they put out just drop dead, oh my gosh, you can't get this anywhere else kind of experiences. And we'll, of course, visit that on the show when we get there.
Yeah, that's still a tough sell. Alex is an incredible experience, and it's hard. It's a big barrier to get people to buy something that they don't know. It's not easy to try.
That one's the
you go over to your
standard,
friend's
right?
house, they say, "I'm playing Super Mario. Check it out," and you play it for 5 minutes. You're like, "I need a Nintendo now."
Yeah.
But like going over to someone's house these days is not as much of a thing as we all stay stuck in our houses with the stuff we already have.
Yeah.
And trying someone's headset feels a little personal, oddly enough, too. So I think that's less likely.
Well, that thing is definitely a standard to compare your games to. We'll see what they end up doing. Other Sony news includes this. Before we move on, they did their latest financial report shows that since they changed the PlayStation Plus thing and added the 3-tiered system and all of that, whose names I still don't remember, PlayStation Plus,
Premium,
Neutral,
Extra. One of them's extra.
One of
'cause
them
it always
extra.
makes me laugh.
really extra.
middle one's
Yeah.
extra, I think. Is middle one's extra, I think, and then
One of them is extra, and I always find that funny.
Essential. One of them's essential.
Essential's the base, right?
Here's
Then
Grebo.
extra, then premium or
I
something.
love your work in Star Wars. Grebo.
Well, anyway, in this latest report, they showed they lost 2 million, or almost that, 1.9 million subscribers between July and September, which is the period of time where that change happened.
Did they even report on how many they gained? Are they at negative 2 million?
Well, negative 2 million people subscribing, but they.
Yeah, no, I know. What were they at?
Oh, well, good question.
Does,
Like,
say,
what
does the
number
article
is it?
say? Sorry, I guess I should look at the article.
Let's see,
I don't know why I'm
47.
asking.
Yeah, 47.3 million down to 40,
Really?
45.4 million. Yeah.
That many people subbed?
Oh, yeah.
That's
They've been.
crazy.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
not
I'm
then.
still sub to it, and I'm not getting much use out of it at the moment. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of legacy there.
Yeah, these are
Like, this
lifetime
news article
subscribers.
reminded me I need to
45
cancel
million
that
seems
sub.
decent. How much is it? Like, what's the lowest price point? $10?
No, 15, 14, whatever it is. Oh, no, you're
Really?
right. $10 for the basic. You're right. For essentials or
Let's
whatever
say
it is.
45 million. That's $450 million a month,
Yeah, it's good revenue.
right?
Yeah.
Or the low end. So instead of getting 470 million a month, they're getting 450 million a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're
Well, they even said
the
they said
gaming
in those,
press is making a little hay, right?
they said in the report they're 10% increase in total revenue, so they're still up on the year. They're fine even with those losses. Anyway,
No,
who
I
knows?
don't think it's making hay to do a revamp that's supposed to be an incentive to get more people to sub, and then you lose numbers.
No, the gaming press is making hay out of it. Like,
Yeah, they're
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's not a misleading thing. They did an initiative. Sony revamped their PlayStation Plus in an effort to incentivize more people to sign up, and they had a net loss in numbers.
Here-
That's
I have a theory about
that's
that.
not a non-story.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you my theory about that, because I think, well, first of all, I agree. I think it is a story, but secondly, I think the reason they actually had the net loss is a simple reason, and this happens with anybody out there who's had a subscription. You do anything with subscription revenue. One of the things you hope is a ton of people sign up. A lot of them hopefully love the service and stay with it every day, but you also hope that some people just plain forget they have it. John's a good example. He has PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, it just reminded
use
me.
it.
I just canceled it because right now we don't have any of the PlayStations hooked up.
Exactly.
I still have two, but they're
What?
not hooked up. I shouldn't pay for them.
Right. And so
I feel
my
like
point.
half of all these subscription businesses, including our own, are based on people forgetting about this.
Oh, I think there's a lot of it. That's my whole point.
Yeah.
And I think what happened is they made a giant push between those months to not only try to get new people who aren't signed up at all, but they're also pinging existing customers and saying, your stuff stays the same, but we encourage you to try extra or premium for these reasons. Or if you were already all in on whatever, you've signed up for it previously, they might try to push you to premium. Whatever their thing was, it had the effect of reminding 46 million people that they have this subscription, and 1.9 million of them said, oh shit, I didn't know I still had that.
You're right. I think you're right.
I could be wrong, but I think I'm right too. And in that case, that's normal stuff. Like I did this once on TMS where I brought up a dude's name that has been subscribed to TMS's Patreon since 2014. And I was like, this guy, what a dyed-in-the-wool fan. Man, thanks for being there all this time. And he wrote me and said, oh shit, I didn't know I was still doing that. I got to get off that credit card. Like you remind people, then this will happen. So I think the more important numbers will come in the next quarter's earnings report.
Well, get ready.
That was the last time
all our patron numbers are about to drop because we talked about subscriptions on the show.
Yeah, good lesson. Let's not give credit to anyone who's been subbed for a long time.
Well, in our case,
it doesn't let you get away with that. Every time they sub, they make a giant announcement, so it's hard to forget.
But I think we were you're talking about legacy stuff like PlayStation Plus has been around since PlayStation 3. So
yeah, I mean, I've probably been subscribed to it for that long.
Yeah.
Like I've been subscribed to it for as long as you needed to be in order to do multiplayer on their platform because, I had a PlayStation 3. PlayStation 4 was my main system and, still going strong in our household for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's been a reason to be subbed to it. I think this probably, I think a lot of it is, you're right, Scott. I think a lot of it did remind a lot of people that they were subbed to a thing and maybe cancel. I don't know if three very weird tiers did them favors.
The only favors it probably did them is in the end, they still made 10% revenue increase, which tells me that enough people jumped to third tier to make up for the loss of the low tier. Possibly.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, if it's making a money, it kind of doesn't matter, right? If you're still profitable, you lost people, like, hey, you're still profitable. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. Chat wants to know if Bo ran off to cancel a sub.
Coffee run. Coffee. I forgot before we started. I had coffee.
No, it's all good. It would have been funny though if you were like, I gotta find that bill and tell him I can't.
I had that as a calendar item. Like every now and then, I'll in Google Calendar be like, check Apple. Check my credit card, check PayPal. Like, I do an audit about once a month. And like, even my Disney account, I always cancel it and just resub manually. Like, I'm pretty anal about my sub. Longtime listeners will know because I gripe like an old man about them. But I just hate. I hate if a month goes by, I gave a company $10 for nothing.
Yeah,
I hate it. If it's a patron supporter, there have been times into the Nexus. I'm sorry, I didn't listen for a month. You took my money for patron support. I'm happy. I like Kyle and Garrett. Doesn't matter if I listen. That's charity. Supporting independent creators is borderline charity. It's not technically, but
I know what you mean.
But if Peacock gets my money and I didn't watch Star Trek, I'm blazing mad. Like, they're not hurting.
Yeah, especially because Star Trek's on Paramount, but I get your point.
Or whatever. It's on Crave for me. I was just trying to be relatable to our American listeners.
I like that Bo tried to regionalize it for us.
I like it.
Oh, man, they're not going to understand Crave.
Failed on the first attempt.
But, you could have fooled me.
But, I don't like giving the major corpos free money because then they turn around and be like, we're so great. And they go to their stockholder, look how much money we made. And it's like, half those people just have amnesia that they subbed probably,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that. You got people all the way back to 2006 who are like, whoa, I still have that sub? I haven't been paying attention. And you, by the way, that's a great idea. People should put notices occasionally in their calendar or some sort of alarm just to say, hey, go check your domain registrations. Do you really need all those dumb domains you bought? I do this all the time.
Oh, yeah, I have 4 domains.
I gotta do that. I don't know if I still own it, but I used to own ewoksblink.com and ewoksdon'tblink.com.
What? Wait, why? Why?
Oh, this is so good.
I don't even know what to say. Why did you have that?
Because remember when they did the special edition and they announced that Ewoks were going to blink now? They digitally made Ewoks blink. I figured it was
You
gonna
wanted
be.
to squat?
I
and
figured it was
smell?
gonna be the next big culture war of Han shot first or Han didn't shoot first. Honestly, all I wanted to do was just. In my
How much
mind, I
is it
had a
worth?
vision, which was one website, ewoksblink.com, and it was just a GIF image of an Ewok, and it would blink. And then ewoksdon'tblink.com, and it would be a JPEG image of the same Ewok, and he wouldn't blink. 'cause it was
Wow.
JPEG. That was it.
Wow.
That was my dream, and I was too lazy to even make that. So, but I did buy the domains. I did that part.
And
I
you
don't think I
still
own them.
you don't
anymore,
own them now.
though.
You let them lapse.
I
Okay.
don't think so. I'd doubt it.
I have some I have a really hard time getting rid of because I just know one day I'm gonna want them, but it's so dumb. Domain squatting is the worst freaking thing you can ever do to yourself.
I have the one. I have the vanity one. I got BoSchwartz.com.
Well, that's good. You
I
should
had
hang on
that
to
domain. You should see the site on it. It's awful. It's
Is
got, but I had the domain, and then I got rid of it, and another Bo Schwartz took it. I was like, shit, and then it was up for grabs again. I'm like, I'm taking it. I don't care. It's mine.
I'm looking it up. What is it? Just your full name?
I just put like my socials on there, and like for a while I thought I was going to do a feed of content, and so it's just abandonware now at this point. But
let's take a look here. And just
When I
just
was
for
a
fun.
kid, I had cinnabar-island.com.
it's
Cinnabar.
just some
Was a-
bad. I can't do
Yeah,
websites.
It was a
It's just-
Pokemon website.
It was called
Nintendo
Cinnabar?
threatened to sue me over. Yeah, it was an area in Pokemon. You could go to Cinnabar Island.
Wow. You did have
So
dreams.
I had that. I
Yeah.
had newrepublic.net for a while.
Damn.
Ooh.
Look at you,
Yeah.
dude. You could have cornered the New Republic market. Little did you know, Star Wars was about to be a very expensive.
I was like, they're never gonna make more of these.
Yeah.
Can you
This is
imagine
coming back.
wiping
Yeah.
StarWars.com before it was a .com? That would be so crazy.
Oh my gosh, how much
Yeah.
money you'd make? It'd be
Yeah.
stupid. I mean, I didn't keep any that are worth anything. I got a lot of Frog Pants alternates, but I've still got GURP.org. I thought I was going to do this big, cool thing about my Warcraft hunter and have his homepage and whole
That
story on
becomes
there.
a big thing in porn, and you'll be set.
Yep. Whenever GURPing really gets taken off. And I have, this is another weird one I have called, let's see. Oh no, I got rid of that. Yeah, I'm doing better with that is my point. And so that's what I do every year.
It's like, why do I own this?
Yeah, every year I kind of
Oh, yeah.
reevaluate that, and I always drop one or two, and I've got maybe 10 now. It's still too many, but half of those are
Yeah.
active, so it's
I
not
mean,
that bad.
just managing it. It's not even like it's. I mean, for me, I can afford it. Honestly, if I forget a few subs, I make a big deal about it. But
Sure,
it's just the principle of the thing. It just burns my ass.
sure. No, I feel you. For the record, it's worth noting anyway that Microsoft stated recently that they are reaching what they see as the limits of Game Pass in terms of explosive subscription growth. So they're doing real good with their subscription. Game Pass is kind of killing it, but they have their own little
That's what-
ceiling.
That's
Even
where you
they're
wish-
saying like, "Hey, we're
Yeah,
doing."
It's like,
we're
don't get
hitting
too
limits
excited,
here.
Yeah, but
shareholders.
that's where you wish that you weren't so connected, right? Because it's in the context. They're making like an absolute. It's a money hose. They're
Oh,
making
big
lots
time.
of money.
So
Like
much
right, like
money. Yeah.
it's not enough for them.
Right.
But it's like,
Well, it is
we
for
already
them.
have
I think
40
it is.
million subscribers. What a shit show.
If
You know?
if the revenue is true that they're pulling in somewhere close to $1 billion in just Game Pass revenue, I think they're pretty happy with that. But I think that they're just being realistic because you can't. The shareholders need to think that stuff's infinite and will always grow. But I think the companies have to give them realistic expectations, and I think that's all they're doing.
I mean, that's we've been doing the software game for a while now. I think that's all software.
Yeah.
I think we
Online
also have a
services.
bad tendency to see what people's income is and immediately assume that that's their net gains.
Yeah.
We don't see what they're spending,
Right.
and we don't know what that is behind the scenes. Because
Not
it's very
always,
easy to
yeah.
look at a big company and go like, "Oh, they're making money hand over fist," but then next thing you know, they're talking about bankruptcy and stuff like that. You're like, "Well, how did that happen?"
Well, hopefully,
Because
or legally,
going towards
the
something.
public companies have to legally disclose expenditure and gains. So usually, what you'll hear is like, Twitter made $14 billion this year, but they had to say before it became private again this last week, they have to say that's based on spending of 2.5 billion or whatever. They kind of have to do
Right.
that. And I don't feel like if you're like Steam will never do that because Steam's not public. They're still private. So for all we know, Steam is swimming in money. For all we know, they're always on the edge. I doubt it, but They don't have to
world's
tell us.
largest Pokemon collection.
Right, and I'm not trying to suggest Sony's at risk of going out of business, but I'm just saying, like, when you calculate it and you go, oh, look at how much money they're making on just subs to PlayStation, that's not just money in their pocket. Like, that sub does facilitate costs on their end.
Right.
Now, what percentage of that they just keep and can do other things with, I don't know. But
Sure.
it's very easy to look at that and go, oh, what an amazing amount of money they're making. But that doesn't tell the entire truth.
We still don't know what that little tiny receiver Xbox box thing was behind Phil Schiller in his last video he did.
No, I want to know what that is.
Yeah.
I can't believe he didn't talk about it because he was so excited when he did the Series S
Yeah.
to be like, it was in the background, and now everybody over-examines his backgrounds, and they found that thing, and he still hasn't talked about it.
He hasn't said anything, but my guess is that it's a Game Pass. It's probably a prototype and not ready for prime time, but a Game Pass device. Think of it as like a Fire TV or a Google Chromecast or something, an Apple TV type device.
That would be too crazy, right?
Do we need to
X-Deck?
explain what this
X-Deck.
is for people that don't know what we're talking
It's
about?
I haven't seen this image. You're
It's just a
speaking
little
of.
it looks like a small hard drive. It's just a white little box that has a Xbox logo on it, black logo on top of this white box. And it probably
Phil
is a Game
Spencer
Pass
background?
device. It's a streaming device, if I had to guess. So it's to compete with all the Rokus and the Apple TVs and the everything's is my thing.
Yeah, so Phil kind of did this to
Oh, the big
himself
X.
because when he revealed the Series S, he was on a video and he revealed that it had been in the background of interviews he had been doing, and nobody knew what it was because it was so tiny and it didn't look like a console.
Yeah.
So now everybody overanalyzes every interview he does, and in one of his more recent ones, there was a little tiny device back behind him that people have now kind of glommed onto and gone, well, what is this thing?
Mhm.
And
Is it the picture I posted?
I'm looking right now.
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's what I've seen.
No, it's from
maybe?
February. This is from 2022.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the whole thing. I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah.
No, this is the thing. People really overanalyze the backgrounds for him. But yeah, so there was a lot of speculation that Microsoft was going to announce kind of
here it
what
is.
Scott's talking about, a streaming device, because it clearly doesn't, it's not very big.
Here's the image.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's it.
This is
That's
it.
the one.
Okay, Chad, I'll put this up so you can see it. It's and for those listening at home, I'll describe it. It's behind him. He's got like a samurai sword. Below that, a Elite controller, and then right next to it is this little flat, little receiver-looking box. I guarantee they may not ever come to market. I don't know, but I guarantee that's at the very least a prototype of some sort of Game Pass / streaming movie. Like you'd put all your apps on it.
Because you got the logo, and that looks like a controller detector. Like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
I feel
probably would pair
Well,
with
it's also
remotes.
not an identifiable product otherwise on the market, right?
Right,
Like,
correct.
'cause he seems to have game stuff on here. So one way to rule this out is to say, well, what else could it be? Like he's got the Logitech Cloud handheld on the desk,
Yeah.
which is not an Xbox product, but he was
No, but they're
enthusiastically
backing
bought
it.
one of those.
Yeah, they're backing that thing pretty hard.
So that is a tiny ass little white box.
Yeah, I really think that's what it is.
Clearly a tease. I mean, whether or not that makes it to market is one thing, but that's definitely.
I will.
That
I
would
I
be a
think it's
sensor,
the
would it?
Xbox logo, but the Xbox logo in the corner just looks like a little worried face.
yeah, it's kind of the face that says, "Oh no, they saw me." That's the face it's making.
Yep, that's what it is.
It's not a great photo either, but I really do think they probably have something like that in the wings. And you know what? If they offered let's call it $100, because I feel like they want to
Xbox
come in
Mini,
low.
kinda?
If it was a $99 set top box that let me run HBO, Netflix, and all the other stuff I do, and stream Game Pass games to it, I would get one of
I'd
those.
buy it in a heartbeat. You could take that anywhere.
I'd put that in 3. I'd get 3 of them and put them on every TV in this house. Is what I would do. Well, except the one that already has an Xbox attached to it. I'll just keep that there. But
Yeah.
But there is value in. Well, first of all, I have an Apple TV that's getting old, and its time is near. I would replace it with this in a heartbeat because I can run everything I ran on that, including the Apple app for Apple TV Plus shows. And having the ability to just stream Game Pass on it. Duh. This is a no-brainer.
I mean, world's
really
easiest LAN
solve-
party put together, right? Everyone just
Yeah.
get their little bot, like
Yeah.
could fly to Utah with it, and we could hang out for Nerdtacular,
Let's
and
do
they'll
it.
bring our stream.
It'd solve a lot of my
Rainbow.
family's current Fortnite woes. who's getting the Switch versus who's getting on Xboxes.
Oh yeah, that's true. You guys have when the whole family wants to play, you got to start fighting over who gets to do what.
Yeah.
Which is a good time. All right, I'll tell you what else is a good time. We're doing a brand new thing today, and it starts with this: a Patreon message of the day. Yep.
There we go.
Well, of the week, really. Let's call
Yeah.
it. We'll call it the week.
We're not going
'cause
to be here every day.
We're not doing shows every day. I know some of you would like that, but we have
Well,
lives.
sign up.
Oh,
be
that'd be
patrons.
very. I
Look,
do it
we
every
reach-
day.
We reach a certain
charge
amount of
per
money,
show.
we'll do it. Yeah.
Okay.
We charge per show. I do it every day. If
All right,
if
let's
all the
do it.
patrons are on board.
We'll
Like,
do it. It's every
quit my
day.
job every day. Yeah,
Core
that's
daily.
fine.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Watch for it. Maybe not. Anyway, here's what we got. One from Ben Schlack, who wrote, or Shalak. Does that look right? I think I'm saying that right.
Shalk.
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 It's like SCHALCK.
John's got it.
All right.
Shalk.
It's a cool name. Ben writes in, says, he said this on Patreon. It's the only way you can submit these, by the way, for this segment. It says, finally playing Overwatch. I assume he means 2, and it feels like another big missed opportunity by Blizzard to capitalize on wonderful characters and world building. Warcraft has been missing the boat on the anime series, where there's currently a positive precedent with Arcane, but at least an MMO allows for deeper world building in the game. Overwatch wastes all of their storytelling potential on an FPS. Yes, the shorts are great, but they are just that, shorts. And having just watched the Kiriko short, it only stressed the missed opportunities more for someone who could ever get into Overwatch due to its genre. Are there any examples of IPs that you feel had great potential with its characters / world, but wasted it on the genre they chose? Or is it just wasted it in general? Thanks for all the great content. Best part of Fridays is waking up to a 3-hour core episode, having dropped Ben. Well, thanks, Ben. That's awful nice of you. And thanks for being our first inaugural patron message of the week. I think it's a great question. Personally, it's actually kind of hard for me to think of this because I feel like almost all of Blizzard's stuff.
I was going to say, I feel like
this.
he took the best answer because I feel like Blizzard is the king of, oh my gosh, beloved IP properties you could do so much more with and don't.
Yeah. Made a bad movie. Was way too late to the animated series thing. We still don't know what's going on with that Diablo animated series. I assume they want to time it with 4. Maybe they're not even doing it now. I don't know. Like, it's just
That'll
weird
be
over
the
there.
Time to do it. So,
Yeah, that's true.
It's been a while. It's been a couple of years since we've heard that was a thing, and we've had lots of Castlevania and lots of Dota.
Yeah,
cartoons
all of
and-
Arcane, many
Yeah.
game,
There's
Cyberpunk.
a Cuphead TV show.
Yeah, and it's good, by the way. Cuphead's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
shockingly good.
That just makes you look at a lot of properties and go, man, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like a lot of these things are really good. Like that, I know video game movies get taken down a lot, and deservedly so. Most of them are bad. Very few of them are even okay. But video game TV shows have been kind of killing it. Like Arcane was awesome, Castlevania was awesome. I know there were more than those two, but that's what
Cyberpunk.
Edge Runners.
Oh, Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
Yep. Edge
yeah.
Runners was fantastic. Like,
there's other stuff too that my brain won't remember. Cuphead we mentioned. There was something else that was really well done. If shit all can't remember it.
The first Warhammer 40K. I mean, that's more of an animated short, not TV show.
Oh, Halo, I really liked. John and I disagree on this point, but I really liked Halo.
I never watched it, so I
Oh.
can't really go.
Oh, I
to
thought-
it.
We
Oh.
judge books by our covers here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or their
Oh,
covers,
you know
not our
what? That's
covers.
a decent answer. Chat just kind of hit. Resident Evil show was meh. Yeah, Resident Evil feels like a missed opportunity. Like, I feel like that is a property that has not reached its potential on film or beyond
But
the scope of just Resident Evil
Video
games.
games are not batting any worse than regular. Like, if you think about the ratio of good shows to terrible shows,
That's true.
you know, I gotta say, like, recently I've been watching Andor,
So good.
and I thought Mandalorian was good, and then I watched Andor, and I was like,
No, Andor's next level is so good.
It's a different beast, but like in terms of the writing, I'm the most gripped by this. Like I want, when you're like, I want to find out what happens. Mandalorian, like he's the Mandalorian. Things will work out. It just feels like good guys will win, and that's been true. Andor's a whole other can of heartbreak, and it's just, I guess it's got to rely on that. It doesn't have spoilers, but it doesn't have a lot of the who's guest starring this week and special effects bonanza costumes. So it actually has to rely on its writing a lot more just to even be interesting, and they've done it. It's so good.
I agree. I read a quote the other day that said that show in 2005, 2006 that they were working on. There was a Star Wars show in the works. I don't know if this is the one that Kevin Smith was writing or not, but it was around that era, and they had described it. The creators at the time described it as Deadwood in space. They were going for this gritty, it's not all shiny and Jedi's, just kind of a more grounded sort of storytelling. And then that got canceled. But somewhere here recently, one of those dudes who worked on that has said of Andor that they're making what we were trying to do. Like Andor is what we aimed for, which is pretty high praise, I think.
Yeah. It's a little less westerny and more like espionage-y, but still.
Yeah.
I can't believe where they took it and it actually feels like something new in that, where you're like, yeah, Star Wars, but I feel like they've shown me like these last few episodes, like a new milieu that's like terrifying. And of course that's what it's like, but it's been cute and cuddly and heroic rather than just like, you're a piece of shit under the Empire. Like either you serve or die, and no one cares. And it's like, it's actually mean in the way you're like, oh, the Empire's mean. They're bad. They're not just bad because they have red lasers. They're actually like, and they go, yeah, I'm a Sith Lord. They're actually like, legit, like just pieces of shit people. And I love it.
Yeah, I love it. It's good stuff.
I thought of one as an answer to this question.
Oh, go ahead.
And maybe even bigger than Blizzard.
Okay, go.
Because it's not just one thing. Nintendo has a shocking amount of properties they could leverage into other mediums, mostly movies and TV, that it feels like they have not done. I know we're getting that Super Mario Brothers movie. Maybe a shift is on the wind. But when you think of how beloved Nintendo characters are, like the fact that we don't have Nintendo, like Mario TV shows and Zelda TV shows and stuff like that. Like we did, but not anymore.
Yeah, and they were bad.
It's
mostly.
Shocking with how beloved those are with kids and even adults. Like,
yeah. Meanwhile, Sonic, who, everyone teased Sonic for losing essentially to Mario over the years. They equated, Sega's getting out of the market, the console market, as the failure of Sonic in some ways. But Sonic's gone on to do shit. Like, not just movies that were successful, and those two movies were very successful, but television shows, animated stuff. The games haven't been great, but they don't seem to have a problem dipping into those other areas. I don't love it all, but fans of Sonic are pretty satiated. They're pretty happy. And Nintendo's
I would watch
just
a
like
Saturday morning cartoon of like almost every character in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I would too.
Like an F-Zero racing show. Awesome. Sign me up. A Super Mario Brothers show. In it. A Zelda show. In it. Metroid show for older audiences. Yes, 100%. Star Fox, be great. Sign me up. Like every single one of these, I'm like, I'll watch this. I got a baby. I got an excuse. I get to watch these and just be happy about it. I
would watch a Smash Brothers show that was like all of those characters having to work on the whole fighting arena tour business. Like,
yes,
all of it.
Literally every company, every movie company on the planet is trying to figure out a way to do a multiverse like Marvel. And Nintendo has a billion properties and they already have the multiverse property and they aren't doing it.
And they squander it. It's okay. Good one. I agree, John. Totally agree. I think we're about to see some really serious stuff happen. That Fallout series coming, I'm excited about. I'm really excited about Last of Us, which starts in January, I think.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
It looks really good. Like I think we're about to like cross over into territory of more game property entertainment shows and movies are actually better than the bad. There's more good than bad, which wasn't always. It's mostly been the other way around, heavily weighted in the bad department. But
I think as gaming becomes more of a widely normalized thing, you'll get more and more people in the Hollywood show business band as well, taking it seriously too. Like they play the game. Like Henry Cavill's a good example, even though it's more to do with The Witcher, but it's just like, like, oh, let's make a movie for them video game players. See, like it's like, no, I'm playing Warhammer and World of Warcraft all day. I want this shit to be good.
Yeah, they're 1940s noir characters.
Well,
they had to go somewhere, Scott.
That's probably 20 years ago. What they were saying, like, we got to make a Mario Brothers movie. See, what do the kids want? They want a fat Italian guy and a skinny Italian guy, and they want animatronics with little heads. That thing, see?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And as they're
not out of touch.
To me, it's just MCU. It's the same thing. How do we get to a place where comic book heroes and properties actually are respected, get money, and make real quality content? Well, we're there on that. No one's denying that anymore. But as late
our
as
age group,
for our age group,
kids are like, "There's no TikTok in this. What the hell kind of shit is Hollywood doing?"
Well, maybe, but that's my point. Is everything ages up, and then whoever's in charge is now that.
That's
generation.
what I mean. It's our time to enjoy these things now. I think.
Yeah. Let it be our time. Generation X unite, or I guess you're millennial. John's millennial.
I'm a millennial, technically.
I think I'm generation. Wait, I don't even know what the generation.
Bo might be.
I'm Nirvana. I grew up in
Gen
Nirvana.
X.
Whatever.
You
that
could
means.
still be in the Gen X category because
I'm not far into millennial, and Bo's older than me, so he might be a Gen X.
Bo, what are you this year? 41, 2?
43. I just turned 43 a month ago. So.
Okay, so you. Let's see. That
79.
79.
Yeah,
I think
he's
still
a
in.
Gen Xer.
You're still in X, dude. We're in the same group. Woohoo!
I'm an X-Man.
That's right. We don't give a
you
shit
guys
about
got
nothing.
A cool generation. I got stinking millennials.
I know. X is the best, man. Because we don't.
Isn't there a
give
Y
shit.
in there? Don't you fall? Isn't there a Y between millennials and X's?
No. I think that's the weird thing is that there are none. There's a Z. That's my son. He's Z.
Yeah, we just got labeled millennials.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
And you guys
like
got
a lot of things. We just got the raw end of the stick and then blamed for it.
And you got the poopy early. Like as soon as they coined the name, they immediately were jumping on you.
Yeah.
X was cool for a while until they started saying we were slackers, but at least it was still cool. And we kind of didn't care. We were listening to Nirvana and hanging out and we didn't care. We still don't care what you say about us.
No, we're just the generation that can't afford a house because we like avocado toast.
Yeah.
No,
Roman Pod says you were called a Y until they changed. The millennial became popular, so you were Y probably for a while.
Yeah.
The Y generation. That's lame, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is silly. I think
the whole thing's
everyone
dumb.
wants to have a name.
Yeah.
Because the only one that really deserve a name are the baby. One thing we'd all agree on is like baby boomers, move on.
Yeah, get out of here. Share the wealth, you a-holes. Quit clamping down and eating your prune juice and telling everyone to get off your lawn. Make room for the rest of us. All right, moving on. Thank you for that message there, Ben. If you want to do that, you got to be a patron and watch for the posts I'll put up every week that ask for your latest and greatest questions. If you submitted one, they're still on our list of choosies, so they're not going anywhere. Very well might get read in a future episode, but just a little something new we're doing. And thank you, Ben, for being our first guinea pig. Let's dive into what we played this week. All right, before we do that, I want to play something that I mentioned earlier. Plus, you brought up Smash Brothers. Perfect timing, and I think this is great. So I got to play this. I was listening to all of the intros for all of the Smash Brothers characters.
Okay.
And I noticed that there is a lot of Mario, Zelda, freaking Samus, and he's super stoked when he's saying it. Everybody's getting like the rah-rah when they get announced on Super Smash Brothers Melee. Except one character. See if you can notice the difference here, and we'll talk about why he's getting short shrift. So here it is.
Mario! Donkey Kong! Jigglypuff! Ice Climbers! Dr. Mario! Ganondorf!
What happened to poor Ganondorf?
He's not excited. He's a villain. He's baddie.
But did you hear?
Ganondorf.
Like, listen to the difference here. Here's Ice Climbers.
Ice Climbers!
Very excited. Listen to this.
Ganondorf!
Ganondorf. Okay,
Ganondorf.
move along.
He just didn't want to say it.
We couldn't go Ganondorf.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one to extend out in a fun way.
I guess so. Yeah.
Mario, like that's easy.
Ganondorf!
You just go with it. But Ganondorf, you're like, I bet it would have sounded more exciting if he was just Ganon.
Yeah.
Like, even though that's not what Ganon looks like, there's a Ganondorf and there is a Ganon. But like, if
Right.
he'd said Ganon, you would have been like Ganon.
You're probably
But
right.
you had the dwarf on there,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he's like Ganondorf.
Yep.
What are we doing?
Not an issue in the newer one. I forget the name of the new one, the Switch one, but I don't think he's actually in that lineup. Is Ganondorf even
Super
in there?
Smash Brothers, too many characters.
Too many characters.com.
That's what they called it.
Yep, I believe that's
The
true.
Melee.
All right, let's get to the games we played jointly to start with. More Overwatch 2. I'm still really in and loving it, although I haven't had as much time this week. I'm playing tonight after the show with my son-in-law again, and that was a whole lot of fun last week. So we're gonna try to make some regular games. I play with Bo when I can. It's just a
I
good,
got news.
yeah. Oh, you have news?
I
What's
got
the news?
I ranked up. I was bronze 1 in support, and I ranked up to bronze 3.
Woo! Wait, going up a number's good, going down a number's bad, right?
Is that
Going,
true?
No.
Oh,
It's
I
either
Going
was
down
gonna
is
say
bad.
that's a weird number.
You would think after the hard won victory, 7 wins, boom, it's time for a snapshot update. Update to your record. And then I'm bronze 1, I'm expected to go to silver 5 at minimum, and it's like, bronze 3, congratulations. And I'm like, piss off, you stupid game. Like, I just finished white knuckling a hard won game, got the victory in the locker room cheering. It's like if the Toronto Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup, and then they're just like, sorry, even though you won, you're not getting a Stanley Cup.
That's a little weird.
Because you suck.
Yeah.
Like whoever's behind, like the crack is free and heavy over at Blizzard Overwatch team, or whoever decided to make the this ranked mode the way it is, because I understand the good intention behind it, but it feels awful. It feels terrible.
Yeah.
Win up, lose down. Like, just stop trying to curb every soft corner.
Yeah.
If
What
people
they ought to
can't take
do,
it, they're just not going to play ranked.
what they should have done in your case, you tell me if you agree. If you're not going to get higher than that, then leave you there. Don't go lower, right? Like if you were bronze 2 before, or whatever you were, at the very least you should be there as a baseline. I think.
If I go up bronze 1, I should go down to. If I win, I should go up. The problem is not that I go down. The problem is I'm going down on a victory.
Oh.
It's like I won, and it's like drop 2 ranks.
So
And
how does that work though? Like, is it a case of like
So
you
the
went
way it
up, but you
works-
didn't go up with everybody else to the same degree? So
No, the way it
netted
works
down?
is you have a true rank, but they don't show it to you, and your rank updates on a snapshot at 7 wins or at 20 losses. Except at 20 losses, I don't see a screen, so I only ever see it when I get 7 wins, which is supposed to be positive reinforcement. Except it's not positive reinforcement when you win and lose 2 ranks. Like,
Yeah.
who do I got to talk to explain this very basic concept that when you win, you expect people to congratulate you and, at least not go down a rank. It's like if you did your homework and your parents slapped you and sent you to your room with no supper. It's like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
I did the good thing, so anyways, that's my Bobcat for the day.
It seems a little counterintuitive. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't understand
So,
it
I
either.
had to rant about that because it was just the worst feeling I've had in gaming in a long time.
Well, I know what John's solution is, and that would be stop playing Overwatch. But you know what? I'm not.
Yeah.
Gonna, I'm
No,
not, we're
I
not gonna.
have to give Bo some slack on this because I'm going to complain about ranking when we talk about our next game.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's do it now. I don't. Nothing else really to add to Overwatch 2 except.
No, Overwatch is fun. I love playing the
yeah,
game.
it's great.
I'm full on addicted.
Oh, they pulled May out for a week or two.
Yeah.
She
I
has
heard
some
about that.
bug.
It's because I heard John Encore promoted her, and everybody played her and discovered that she was.
We
a
might have
true
done that,
treasure.
we might be responsible for that one.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal
Go
is
on
though.
quite a bit about May last week.
I meant to look it up, but what was the bug? It was some weird exploit or something. I don't know what it was.
So what if you were standing on the wall?
Yeah.
It could raise you into a place that made you invulnerable, but you could still shoot and hurt other people.
Oh, That is a bug.
So it has to do with being raised on the wall and invisible. I mean, I found an invisible hole too when I doomfisted behind a tree I couldn't get behind of for like 5 minutes. But that didn't really work to my advantage being doomfist.
That's funny because poor Doomfist, always getting screwed in the meta or otherwise.
I like playing him. I play him at
He's
OpenSea.
fun. He's all right.
Yeah.
But in the case of May, I'm happy to see her not in my matches. She's been really trolling me hard, so it's fine. It's fine with me. Marvel Snap. Let's talk about that. I have been playing very, very casually. I'm nowhere near where you guys are, but I'm enjoying it. John, I understand you've got problems with ranking right now. What's going on?
It's my own fault. So I can't, it's not necessarily a complaint about the game because I think the rank system is okay. And it's not like, the game's called Marvel Snap. The snap mechanic's there. I don't think they're going to throw it out. But the problem I have is the deck I like playing is a on reveal deck that I feel like the opponents know when they're going to lose. So they always retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And I always get surprised when I lose. So more often than not, I've snapped. So the deck, I think overall, I don't think the game will show you your lifetime stats, but I think the deck overall has a high win rate for me. I feel like I win, 80% of my games, and I am dropping in rank super fast because what happens is I'll win 4 or 5 games where I get 1 or 2 cubes. But then I lose a game where I thought I was going to win and I had snapped, and I'm losing 4 or 8 per loss. So I'm getting all these victories, but because they're incremental victories, little steps, I'm getting hit by these big losses on the occasional loss on the deck. Bumming me out. I cannot get out of silver to save my life, and I feel like I win so many hands and I can't get out of silver. And the other problem that's coming with it is I'm starting to unlock new pools of cards. So I'm starting to see cards that are really impressive and doing some crazy things, but I just haven't managed to get out of silver yet. And it's been a real frustration lately because I feel like every time I log in, it'll be go up to 36, drop down to 34, go back to 35. That's the end of the day. I've played a lot of matches.
Which deck are you playing?
I'm not playing a set one. It's one I made, but it's an on-reveal Odin deck.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, it's... Well, we don't have to do a whole deck tech here, but one of my new favorite things, because a lot of people I know are playing it, are like, well, so I've reached rank 100. So
I know, I saw
my gosh.
He's a master. He's got a card back.
I
I'm
feel
going to
like
be
you
insufferable now. I'll be like, well, see, all you need to do is this, and this. And
I feel like you beat the game. You hit the kill screen or something. But
I mean, yeah, we were talking about this. I was talking about this in Crofting because they're like, what are you doing now? Are you done with the game? And I'm like, I'm going to wait till next season. I'm not going to be one of these crazy, hardcore gamers. There's somebody that's reached infinite 500. I'm like, there's no rewards. I'm not trying to be number 1 NA, whatever. So, but there is it's I reached 100, but I think some of it has to do with my experience playing poker and less so TCGs, because in this game it's not the number of wins. You could lose more than you win and still get ahead. It's betting. But the reason I ask is because I found the number one way to exploit the game is exactly what John's talking about. You need to have a trap on turn 6. So if you have the top meta deck, but the opponent knows how that plays and knows what's going to happen, they're not going to pay you off. They'll be like, oh, clearly you're going to play Odin, fold. Or if they're like, clearly you're going to play Odin and I'm going to beat it, snap.
Yep.
So
this is exactly the trap I've been in.
How you win is you have to figure out a plan to disrupt their expectation. And paying attention to the meta helps, when there's a featured location or you're seeing a certain type of deck a lot, knowing how to break its heart. But so this wasn't super effective, but I did climb slowly, was I played a standard whatever deck, just good stuff, high stats for cost. And what I would do is I'd play Heimdall. Now, And so I would play all the cards on the 2 right lanes and then move everything to the left lane. Now Heimdall should only be played in the movement deck. That's the meta. That's the deck. But I purposefully played Heimdall in a non-movement deck so that when they were looking at my deck, they'd like, oh, I know what to expect. It's this and this and this and this. But I need to keep the left lane clear, or what? Like I got to pay attention to how many spots are full. Not completely clear, but what's going to be important is they think I'm focusing on mid and right, when really I'm going to shift everything over on the last turn on them, and that proved to be an effective strategy. So I didn't play, and that's why I posted a cryptic tweet where it's like, the best, if you could choose the best hand in poker, that would be aces. You have, against a field of other opening no limit hold'em hands, you have your favorite pushing all in pre-flop, but your opponent would also choose aces, which means your chances are 50-50. So when people can choose the meta decks, how do you trick the opponent? To me, it's playing things that people aren't discussing, finding those opportunities and exploiting. And then also the other skill being, don't have too much of an ego about folding after, soon as, even if they snap on turn 3. People will do that when they're playing the Infinite deck, the Sunspot Infinite deck. They got the combo pieces, snap. Most of the time I lose. So it's just learning about when to fold and what your game plan is versus different decks.
I think that's where the difficulty is going to be for me, because I at recommendation, because I vented this a couple times and I had a couple people talk to me about it, and so I do have a few decks that are from, they're net decks that I looked up, like, oh, what's a build, what can I put in here. But the reality is I just don't like playing them very much. They're kind of boring. I didn't put them together. I feel like I'm just going off somebody else's strategy. They're not very fun. And so the problem is that the deck I like playing, the one I always gravitate to and go, well, this is what I'm going to play, is exactly that. It's one that's very hard to make big gains on with winning, because you can see it coming. Everybody can. It's not hard to see that when you put White Tiger and Ironheart and all of that with one spot left by turn 6, like, okay, here comes the Odin. So people know what to expect, and they take advantage of me. I could change it up, but that's where I get into trouble, because I'm like, but do I want to? And so I may just have to come to terms with being like a silver player, because I don't want to put in the effort to go beyond it.
Everyone's experiencing that, especially in Pool 1 and Pool 2, because the meta's pretty small and set outside of the events. Like, I made most of my gains during Camertage because I was able to, find that deck pretty early on. But the subsequent 2 events, people figured that out, or like this Machine World one right now. I don't know how to exploit it. I hate
Machine World.
Yeah, like I can't exploit it very well. So it's like I got an edge in a certain scenario. But everyone's kind of, there's movement deck, there's discard, there's destroy deck, and then there's various dino packages. And then there's the go wide, which is the Blue Marvel or Odin, whatever kind of. And so after playing for a few weeks, at least the Pool 1, Pool 2 decks, I'm familiar with all of them. I know all what they want. Sometimes it's just that it's a rock, paper, scissors. Like movement decks I find often win against me, because they introduce that level of what lane is he moving to? I don't, it's hard to tell. That's where I got inspired to just take Heimdall and put it in something that doesn't look like a movement deck, and play off meta. And now I'm starting in Pool 3, so there's all kinds of, the cards get even worse, like in terms of just how bonkers they are.
Yeah.
Fun, but just like it's a whole new puzzle to solve for me. But I definitely found that the meta was getting a bit stale. That's also why I played an off meta deck, because I just don't want to play the same for.
Yeah,
it's my criticism of TCGs in general is that they do devolve into like a rock, paper, scissors meta, and that's boring.
I've hit a point in the game where I do feel like I'm going up against the same decks over and over and over again now, and it does get a little annoying. Like I'm frustrated because now it feels like they all have new cards and I don't, because I'm right at that like stepping into a new pool. But At the same time, like there is a little relief. Like the first time someone played Hobgoblin against me, I was like, "Oh, that was an awful experience," but I'm so happy to see a different card that it's okay. Like I'm okay with it because, hey, look, it's not the Vulture. It's something different coming in. So, but it's a super fun card game. Like I definitely suffer from the just one more game. I pulled it up on stream yesterday and was like, I'll just show one game to show kind of what I'm doing. And I think I played 7 or 8 games on stream before I was like, all right, I didn't intend to play this today. Like I'm gonna put it away. So it's super fun. Again, I don't think it goes after your wallet quite so hard. It definitely tries to incentivize it. Like if I was paying, I could probably move up that collection rank a lot quicker. I've got a lot of cards ready for upgrading that are only being held back by the amount of credits I have. So, I could expand my pool with money very easily right now, but I'm not doing it. And I'm still having fun in spite of it. And I think that is the difference between a good mobile game and a bad mobile game.
It's a great little game.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, as if the filthy casual in the room, I'm having a great time with it. I'm feeling less burdened by the ladder, though. I just don't care. But I like playing it.
And that's the nice thing about 100 too. Now I don't care about rankings, so I just play the worst shit ever. I just play whatever just to get my quest done and get ready for next season. I'm not trying to get infinite 500. So.
You're like what billionaires do with their money once they've just got more money than God.
Kind of. Like I laugh, like people are snapping and trying to win against me, and I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like snap all you want. I made it to the top of the hill.
Yeah, it's like wiping your butt with $1,000 bill. What do you care? It costs you more money to use regular toilet paper. Just use that money in your pocket.
I'll be brought back down. I think at least 30 ranks. In a week's time or less once the season resets. But
yeah. Oh, that's true. That's soon-ish, right? Because they're shorter seasons.
Yeah, it's like less than a week. It's a month per season, and we started like 2 weeks into the season, I think. So it's almost over.
It's good, and I think the arenas keep it fresh. Although again, I hate the current one. I do not like this one. I was trying to figure out good ways to have fun with it, and I think the best idea that I had was if I play a late game Namor on that spot. Yeah, it gives them the card, but like it then gives them a tough decision to, either play it there to counter mine or go with whatever their plan on turn 6 was. And even that's like a real like iffy proposition. Like it's not good. I just hate it. I don't like it at all. But the other events have been a lot of fun. So
well, moving on to all the other games we played. Just a brief mention, I'm still playing Red Dead 2, taking my time with it, but having a great time. I'm going to finish that story. I love it. And Despot's game continues to be a delightful, wonderful little freaking thing.
Oh, I tried that. I played about an hour of it. It's good.
It's good, right? It's fun.
Yeah,
I really like it.
It was neat. I liked what I was putting down. It's a nice little auto battler for sure.
It made me like auto battlers, and I really don't like them normally. I mean, honestly, the only 2 auto battlers I've liked is this, if you can even call it that. This has got other stuff in it that makes it different, but this and Battlegrounds in Hearthstone are really the only 2 I've ever really enjoyed. For a long period of time, I should say, because I don't know, the other stuff just didn't stick with me, but this one sure is. I really like it. Anyway, then I played a game. You know how lately I've been sort of on a hunt for Vampire Survivor likes?
Yeah.
Don't know why I'm doing that, but I am. Whatever, I don't know what that genre is.
The game came out. You're like, oh, Vampire Survivors is out. Great, let's play every game that is not Vampire Survivors.
Right. Like I played a bunch of Vampire Survivors as well, but I don't know why. I just keep thinking this is usually what happens. Somebody will come out with a baseline thing and it'll like kick off, and everybody's like, oh, we got to make one of those. And then they flood in, and then I find it fun to see who's doing what. And these are so cheap. They're like $3 games every time. Nobody's charging a ton of money for these. I feel like I can just sort of dink around and find out, So I played one I really like called Void Scrappers. And it's a little indie game, obviously. It's on Steam. And it's set in space. You're a little spaceship in Void Scrappers. And you shoot up stuff. They drop scrap instead of XP. It's little pieces of scrap. And you pick up that scrap. And when you get enough scrap, you get an upgrade. Imagine the pattern. It's basically the same. I won't say it's just like a new skin, because they do a couple of things, like if you get 3 of, they kind of present as cards, sort of, right, which everyone does now, but they'll how am I trying to explain this? These little cards will pop up and it might be a new weapon. So cool. I'll try that new weapon. And then you get more cards later, and if you've already got the weapon, you'll get a number 2 of the weapon. So it'll say like 1/ or 0/3. When you get the first one, you have 1/3, 2/3, so on. When you get the third one, it makes this big deal out of it and makes a bunch of music and a big combo thing. And now you've got the ultimate version of that weapon. And you use that weapon to lay waste and cause all kinds of havoc in the game. Same thing goes for all the different kinds of weapons. And you only get weapons from the mini boss battles that you get occasionally. Think of it as like the glowy bat in Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
Except in this case, it's always a weapon drop. You don't get weapon drops just from regular combat. You the cards you get for that are upgrades to things like speed, or how many projectiles you fire at once, or how far away the scrap will suck into you from distance, that sort of thing. So the upgrades are like that, but none of them are ever a random weapon, which is different than Vampire Survivors and also different from Brotato and some of these others I've been playing. The space motif's just really working for me. I really like it, and I got really far in it, and man, they swarm that place with a billion ships, and the boss ships get harder and harder, and it's great. It's a great one of those. It reviewed well, so I thought, why not? Let's check this thing out. I totally dig it. It's under $5. I like it a whole lot. So
yeah, we're gonna need to get your, like, once you've played the breadth of them, we're gonna need to get, okay, this is Scott's top picks.
Yes,
for Vampire Survivor like games.
Survivor likes, and it may end up being, Vampire Survivor might be it, but there's some things that each of these games are doing differently that I really like Brotato in particular, which I think might be the biggest contender. Oh man, Brotato's awesome. Anyway, yeah, that's not a bad idea. At some point, I'll do some sort of thing, and we'll talk about it more. Anyway, so there's that. Void Scrappers, available on Steam, and also plays perfectly on a Steam Deck if you were interested in that. Speaking of that, another game went on sale that I've been wanting to pick up for a long time. I already had it on the Switch, so I wanted it here, and it's called Hunt Down. I think I've even talked about it on the show before. Hunt Down is a small game that came out a few years ago that is reminiscent of like the old Genesis action side-scroller shooters, if I had to compare it to anything.
I think I saw this pop up on Steam recently.
Yeah, it was you probably saw the sale as well. As like $5, $4, something like that. Usually 19. I think it might be back to its normal price. I'm not sure. It goes on sale a lot, but it is the most faithful, tonally accurate 16-bit game ever, specifically Genesis era. So it's just edgy and over the top. That thing I played at the top of the show is from it. This thing,
Profiteering mega corporations.
it's just like ridiculous, over the top. The whole thing's cyberpunk setting of some sort. You got 3 characters to choose from. You can be this lady, I forgot her name. They're all funny names. One's kind of a RoboCop type robot guy, and the other one's like a regular old hard-boiled detective type. Anyway, in this world, you're like the only system of justice left, and you're like this secretive society of justice dealers, and so you're the only ones willing to go out and get jobs done, and you get paid for it. And it side scrolls like you would expect. I don't know what game to compare this to. It's not like Contra in perspective, but not in speed. It's a little bit more maintained. I don't know, but like Broforce is a little bit more accurate, and that's more a recent game, so it's probably not fair to compare it.
Maybe Broforce. I was going to suggest Dead Cells next,
maybe
really
a
movement.
little bit of that.
A little bit of that. I think the pixel artwork is insane. The feel of it is really great. It's very methodic. It's like, all right, I got to take these guys down. I'm going to use this weapon to do it. I'm going to run out of bullets if I'm not careful. But I have this one gun that's infinite, but it's basically just a pistol. There's hidden elements you can go find. Just has all the makings of that old stuff, and I love that stuff. The boss fights
are the look of Contra, but it almost feels like the pace of Metal Slug, like a slightly slower Metal Slug.
It's actually that's really well put, and that explains a lot, because I actually love Metal Slug more than most of those kinds of games, and I think that's why I prefer that pace of that kind of like it's not nonstop bullet hell.
Right. It's run to the right, but like not like Sonic the Hedgehog. Every now and then you stop, you move up, you gather something, you take a little time at a spot, like. it's not constantly going.
Yeah, that's a
On
good way
sale
of
for
putting it.
$5 right now.
Is it still on sale? Oh, it's so worth getting. It's very, very
Yeah,
good.
it's on-
I play it on Steam Deck primarily, but it plays, obviously fine on PC. This is on Switch and everything else as well. They may be also having a sale. PlayStation, Xbox, they all have it. It's just, and it's funny in all the right ways. It doesn't try to, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the perfect mix of like humor and stuff from the 90s, but also its own thing. The boss fights, which we're watching one right now, are all really creative and interesting. Kind of hard at first. You learn their patterns, you figure it out. There's a wrestler dude that this isn't showing that. That's the next boss in line, but he's Randy Savage. I mean, he's just constantly going, "Oh yeah," and just like saying all this stuff like that. And it's great. It's just stupid, over the top. I miss this in games. I don't even know what to call it, but I miss it. And this game revives a lot of those feelings for me. So anyway, really tight controls, very fun game. Right now, $5, total no-brainer. It's called Hunt Down, and I would recommend this very, very highly if any of that sounded interesting to people. It's a lot of fun. And there's lots of difficulty settings, so you can really go hardcore if you want, or have a more story approach. And the story is pretty stupid, but in a great way.
Oh, it seems like it's going for like an 80s vibe, like
Oh, yeah.
80s, Cobra action movie, dumb themed gangs, like
Yep.
all that kind of
Yep,
stuff.
I'm glad you said themed gangs, because for sure that's happening here. I mean, it's very cyberpunk in the way that people think they like cyberpunk, in a very stereotypic way. And it's one of those things where it's reminiscent of the 16-bit graphic era, but it's clearly, explosions and blood and stuff. Like, this is beyond anything you were playing on your Genesis for sure, but it's still reminiscent of all those things. Anyway, it's very cool. Highly recommend it. Hunt Down. Let's move over to John and the other stuff you've been at. What are you up to there? What do you got going on?
Yeah, so with Halloween happening, I was in the mood to play some not necessarily scary games, but I wanted to do some spooky games. And I decided to try a bunch of stuff, and I actually kind of pulled the Scott. I tried a whole bunch of stuff, played very little bit of it. Like, I was a bad Scott. Scott gets into these games and tries them, and he comes back with a lot of useful information. I didn't do that. There's not going to be a lot of useful information here. First thing I played was Project Zomboid, which is an interesting concept. It is a kind of isometric top-down survival game in a zombie apocalypse. One of the big things it boasts is like accurate locations based on map data for towns.
Oh, weird.
So it's supposed to be very accurate in that regard. Graphically, this game is not good at all, but it does offer like a wide breadth of options as a result. So it's one of those games where it's like, you go up to a counter, and that counter is going to be full of stuff that you might find in a kitchen counter. And you can do a whole bunch of things with it. If you get a cup, you can fill it with water, and then you have water. If you get thirsty, you can find meat, but you got to cook it. And then there's places you can do that. Like, it's kind of like Wildermyth in that sense of like, it's not graphically impressive, but they do that because technically what's behind it is pretty robust. But it is hard as hell. Like, I mean, the game basically tells you at the start, they're like, you're going to die. Like, this is the story of how you die. It's how you get to that we're going to figure out. And there's a lot of sneaking around, and there's a lot of avoiding zombies, and it's very methodical. And I feel like this is a game that if I could get used to the controls, I would have a really good time with. But I didn't get used to the controls, and instead I kept getting eaten and killed. I got frustrated with it and I stopped playing it.
You playing with a keyboard and mouse? Is that the primary way, or what do you do?
Yeah, you can't do controller. There's too much like right now it looks like an action game. So it looked like what you're showing. So it looks like, oh no, you could use a controller and do that. But You're opening menus, like you're seeing more of that now. You're opening menus and you're clicking items and you're right clicking to get context for those items. Cause it's not just, I have a piece of wood and here's the one thing wood does. It's like, no, I got to right click the wood and I can use it to break it up on the ground and do this with it or board up a window or whatever. Like there's a ton of stuff based on where you are. It's very menu heavy. But it's not bad. Like it's just, it was one of those games where it's like, oh, I can't play this casually.
Would you say it's like got stealth elements to it? Like this seems like this dude's sneaking
definitely,
around a
because zombies respond to sound and sight. So sneaking is important, and not being seen is important. If you get a gun, like you can shoot zombies in the head and they will die, but that gunshot will also attract any other zombies around. And they'll come for you. So it's got a lot of options like that. And because of that, because I was like, all right, well, that was a lot. This seems like a lot to learn. Let me try a different zombie game that doesn't seem like it has as much to learn. So I started playing 7 Days to Die, which is a voxel-based first-person shooter or first-person survival game with zombies, again, prominently featured, keeping the theming alive.
Sure.
And that game, I don't want to make a comment as to whether it's good or bad. What I can tell you is I got in expecting one thing, and the first thing I was doing was slapping plants to get plant fiber to weave together to make a thing. And I went, this is not what I want right now. And I stopped playing. I didn't get very far at all.
It's like a pure survival game, right? Like that's what this is. One of those.
This is a survival game. You're gonna weave some plants that you picked up off the ground, and then guess what? You're gonna pick up a rock off the ground.
Wow.
And guess what? You're gonna get some sticks, and you're gonna use your plant fibers to connect that rock to those sticks to make a tool, and you're gonna use that tool to do a thing. If that's the thing you're into, this game might be for you, but it is not what I wanted to play. I thought it was going to be more survival in the like, hey, look out, zombies kind of aspect, less in the like create a stone hatchet for yourself. So it wasn't what I wanted, and I didn't play it.
These games are all on sale, I should mention.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that why you grabbed him? You were like, oh, look at all these deals.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was going to do a Halloween stream, and then instead I took a nap the day before Halloween. So
that's about right.
That's what happened instead of a big Halloween stream. Which, by the way, like what I wanted to talk about today, but I was saving it. I played all this stuff because what I really wanted to play, I was like, no, I'm going to save for that Halloween stream. Is that the DLC for Resident Evil Village came out, Rose DLC and the third person stuff. And I got to see what the third person perspective looks like for the game. And that's cool and interesting. But I really wanted to find out what was going on with the Rose DLC. But I thought, well, I'll save that for the stream, but then I didn't stream, so I haven't played it. So instead, this is what I've got.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't have what I wanted to play. I've got this.
Well, the real quick on that front, I saw a video of the mannequin ladies following through the house, and they'll stop if you stop, but if you're not looking at them, they'll keep coming after you.
Oh, is that from
that
from the Rose DLC?
Yes, and guess what? I'm not ever gonna play.
Oh, we should play that, Scott.
Dude.
You loved Village.
I liked Village a lot, but I don't know if I can deal with dolls that stop and look at me like that. Have you seen video of this? It's horrifying.
I watched your video of it and was like, that's a weird horror looking game. All right, let's move on. I didn't know that was that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's RE Village gameplay DLC. I'm just gonna try to find this so the chat can see this, but let's see the mannequin ladies.
Mannequin. That's
I always have to say it that way.
Lesser known sister.
I always have to say it that way because if I don't, I'll spell it wrong. Isn't that's weird, right? To do that?
No, I think people do that.
Anyway, it's so it's part of this Shadows of Rose stuff. and I'm see if I can find it
Shadows of Rose.
because this just really put me in a place when I saw this. I was like, "Are you kidding? I'm not doing that."
I'm gonna try not to look because I don't want to spoil myself.
Yeah,
but
as
I
far as
did see the mannequin stuff that you posted. I just didn't realize it was from this.
Yeah, so there he goes walking past one, and then I think if he turns around, is this? Oh no, this is Rose,
Yeah, this is Rose.
right? But you can play all of Village now in third person as Peter or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it's not his name, but yeah. You
What was his
can.
name? I forgot.
I don't know. As soon as you said Peter, you erased his name from it. Ethan. It's Ethan Winters. That's what it is.
Ethan Winters. That's
Ethan
right.
Hawke.
Oh, see, there it is. See, this is some horse shit. Okay, so Bo, on this video, she's just looking, but the minute he gets, okay, turn away.
Yeah, I
girl.
saw the video you posted as well. It looked neat.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think I can do it, John. I don't
You
think I
can
can do it.
totally do it.
I
You
don't
You just
know.
gotta look at
at
them. Yeah,
It's
you just
the
gotta look at
same
them.
principle as Super Mario Brothers booze.
Wait, Super. Oh, it is that
Yeah.
principle. Yeah, but those are big, smiley, dumb things that aren't scary. These are scary mannequin doll ladies.
Why? Why is that different?
I don't know. I'm terrified. And you can hear them like walking down the halls, and then they come in the room, and then they look at you. Like, watch
Yeah.
this. They're like, oh, shit. I ain't doing that, dude. No way I'm freaking doing that. F that. I don't think I can do it.
You could totally do it.
Keep your eye on the girl, dude. I'm already, I can't do it.
We gotta play this, man. We gotta play this. Everybody wants it.
Okay, well, we'll consider the request. Tell me about Signalis. Oh wait, so you played it and you liked it and you're gonna probably get it, is what you're saying?
What, the Rose DLC
Yeah.
or the 7 Days to Die? No, I did buy the Rose DLC.
Oh, you did
I
get
just
it.
haven't
Okay.
played it yet.
All
Yeah.
right, there you go.
But I did play Signalis, which is a game that's on Game Pass right now. This game seems fantastic. So this is another one that sadly I don't have a lot of time in, not for lack of interest, but actually just because I don't know how saving your game works in this. I
Oh.
thought I did, but I played it for a while and was like, this is really good. Then I had to go do something. Then I came back and there was no save file to load. And I had to do the whole beginning over again. And I had played for a little while. And I was like, I don't want to do all that again. I just did it. So I stopped playing.
Oh man.
But this game is genuinely very interesting. It's also kind of an isometric game. With kind of an anime looking protagonist. It's got kind of rough pixelated 3D graphics.
The art is so
but
cool. I love the look. Yeah.
It's sort of like Resident Evil mixed with Evangelion. Like, I know we were harshing on that on the pre-show, but like I got to this weird part where it just started playing classical music with lots of flashes of anime and a lot of text on the screen. I was like, wow, this feels very Evangelion to me. But in a cool kind of horror setting type vibe. I haven't played enough of it, but I can tell you that this game seems very, very cool.
It seems really neat. This one I think I would probably play, given the isometric perspective is most of the view that you're seeing. That makes things less scary for me. But also, I've said in just recent years maybe that I didn't think the PlayStation era of graphical style was going to go anywhere the way that pixel art did. I always thought, well, pixel art, will always be fun to play in new games like they were in old games. It's just a great style for games. And I used to think, well, those early, the early 3D world of PlayStation 1 and the Sega Saturn and all of that we wouldn't figure out a way to make that seem cool again because it just was so ugly and dirty.
Yeah.
I think I'm wrong. Because this is a good example. The card game that we all liked, that was the oh shit, I can't remember the name of it.
I know what you're talking about.
That weird
Inscription. Yeah.
Inscription's a good example. I'm starting to think I was wrong about this. I actually think
it requires a lot of post processing over the top of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So actually, the part you're on right now, this is the part that felt very Evangelion to me. It's like, here's a lot of text and cuts to red and font and classical music plays over this entire scene. And I was like, wow, this feels very Evangelion right here. But the main game itself is very much in the vein of like Resident Evil and stuff like that. And It just seems really, really cool. So I'm definitely going to play more of this. I wish I could say that I had played more of this. I didn't, simply because I don't know how save games work. Maybe there's a typewriter in there that I just never found. Maybe I just didn't get far enough to find it. But no, this game is really, really cool from what I've played. And with it being on Game Pass, it's easy to try if you have that subscription. So this is one I definitely would recommend.
The character
I had a good
has
time.
Fire Emblem feet. I notice. You know that whole
Yeah,
no.
yeah. It just comes down to a point. Well, you're a robot, so you're a sexy robot lady. So it's okay if you have pointy feet.
Yeah, that's
if you're a
true. You
robot.
can have Fire Emblem feet and be a robot and feel pretty good about it, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna grab this at Game Pass. You said this was on.
Yeah. Yeah.
no brainer.
I almost bought it on Steam because it was being featured prominently there, and I was like, "Oh, it's got really good reviews and it looks really cool. I think I'm gonna buy this." And then I saw it on Game Pass and was like, even better.
Well, there you go.
I don't have to pay for it.
Signalis, like Signal and then IS at the end, and it Steam currently has it as overwhelmingly positive reception. That's a good sign, everybody. Go play it.
So
Hard time finding the Signalis.
I also played
You can't
Curse of
stop
the
it.
Dead Gods.
Oh,
a little bit.
That game's great. That game's great.
That game is like, because I definitely wondered where these were gonna happen, because Hades was a very popular video game.
Yeah.
And I was like, why didn't more people try and make a game like Hades? Curse of the Dead Gods is a game like Hades, and it's a pretty good one from what I can tell. My only issue with it, the only thing that has kept me from having more time in it, one, it's harder.
Definitely
or at least
harder.
it starts harder. Because you have to manage light in addition to your fighting, which kind of adds a whole other dynamic to it. You have to either light torches or you can light enemies on fire, and the penalty for being in the dark isn't terrible. Like it's manageable, and I think that's the thing I'm gonna have to come to terms with, is that like it's okay to fight in the dark sometimes, because I was just getting beaten on trying to keep rooms well lit while I was fighting. But the only thing I have with it is the pacing in the game is not very good. Like this game definitely front loads a lot of tutorials. Like, hey, here's this mechanic and here's how this works and here's what you can do with this and here's how the map works. Like things that Hades really took its time giving you like a run or two or three to kind of unlock or figure out. This game throws it all at you on your first run. And I started to get like tutorial fatigue with it. Where I was just like, oh my gosh, it has so many things it wants to teach me how to do and all about. But the gameplay within it is very, very good. It feels tight. It feels fun to do the combat. The move sets are really interesting. The weapons are good. The light and dark mechanic of the room is good. But this game does offer a lot of things. So it's like, hey, here's how stamina works. Here's how you get it back. Here's how you lose it. Here's how light works. Here's what the penalty for it is. And here's what the bonus for it is. Here's your sword. Here's your gun. Here's how you do special moves with it. Hey, there's this curse system every time you go through a door that builds up that has a special effect when you go through the doors. Hey, here's your upgrade unlocks, and here's how that's going to work. And hey, here's how you plot out your map. Here's all the icons of all the potential rooms. And that's all within like the first 15 minutes of playing.
Yeah, there's
and
a
I was
lot.
just like,
There's a lot.
oh my gosh, I wasn't ready for this.
Yeah, they definitely went for more. I don't know if the word is depth, but they wanted to create more levels of that complexity than what you get with Hades. It's just a different approach. So you're absolutely right. I don't think you're wrong about that at all. It's very good.
I think Hades executed on it better by doing a slower roll. And like I can see people returning to Hades being frustrated because it's like, oh, it's my first run. I don't have access to, like certain gods won't even show up on your first run. They don't show up until later, and there's mechanics that are unlocked until you've done multiple runs and things like that.
Yeah.
And this game seems like it wants to give you a shorter, like a quicker introduction to all those systems, so you can just start doing full runs however you want. But I think chat room just coined the phrase, because this does happen to me very frequently, which is TLDP, which I'm sure stands for too long didn't play. And I think that's what I ran into. It hit me with so many menus and tutorials and pop-ups. I went, okay, hold on, I don't think I'm ready for playing this game, and I walked away from it
I
without
get it.
putting too much time. I will come back to it though, because it looks amazing and it plays great.
Yeah, I really like the look and feel of the game. In particular, it's on Game Pass as well. So if you're, it's been there since August, looks like. So you can play it on PC or console, and it's also on Steam and Switch and everything. That's a big game. People like it.
Yeah. So rounding it out, my last spooky game, as I played through a bunch of these things and gave a little bit of time to all of them, I tried to go back to a game that I've talked about on the show before, but it just sticks with me as one of the. It's not a scary game in the traditional sense, but it's a game I think about a lot. And every now and then, for no reason whatsoever, the music and the visuals will just sink back into my mind. And that is Return of the Obra Dinn.
Yeah.
Which is one of the, like, despite its incredibly simplistic graphics and all of that, has just stuck with me in a really, really weird way. And I went back and played a little bit more of Return of the Obra Dinn, and I continue to be sad that it is not the easiest game in the world to go back to, because it's kind of all about solving a mystery and puzzle, and once you know it, you know it. You can't unknow it, which is a real shame, because this little universe, this like terrible event boat ride where everything went wrong and almost everybody died, has just stuck with me since the day that I played it. And it's not a horror game in the traditional sense. Nothing jumps out at you. There's nothing awful in it. Besides, I mean, you are looking at the deaths of like 40 people or something like that over the course of the game. But like, there's nothing in it that's like a jump scare or traditional horror. But like, the things that you see over the course of that game and solving what happened on the Obra Dinn just have continued to live with me since I played it. And I wish I could go back to play this game without knowing everything I know about it. Like, it's such a unique experience. So again, I know I've talked about it before, but I'm gonna mention it again to anybody out there that hasn't played it, that thinks, you know, would be into a puzzle game. I don't think the game's necessarily for everyone, but don't let the simplistic graphics or thinking the game will give you a headache, which is what I thought it was going to do when I looked at the graphics. I was like, I don't know if I can play a whole game like this.
I
Don't
really
let it
like
fool
them.
you.
I like the
This-
graphics. I think it's like such a weird decision to make it look like a 1984 Mac screen kind of. And I know they have different filters, so you can make it kind of
Yeah.
look different ways. But there's something about that sepia tone monochrome thing going on that I really dig about it.
Yeah. This
really
is
neat.
one of hands down the best games I've ever played in my life, and I can't recommend it enough. Don't don't let its look or anything pass you by. Like, this game is really incredible with what it does with storytelling, with what it does for presenting a non-linear narrative, for like it tells a story that's so emotionally charged, because people are, you know, literally dying and murdering and betraying and stuff like that, and you get the entire story from a place of complete neutrality, which is really interesting. You don't have a stake in it. You don't have friends on the ship. Like, you're an insurance adjuster, like, going in just to find out what happened, and it's really a strange and incredible experience.
He's one of
So,
those creators. It's one dude, Lucas Pope. He made this and he made Papers, Please, one of my favorite games ever made. There's a few people I just sort of pay attention to, and like whatever that person does next, I'm all in on. That's one of those guys. I think it's amazing he even made those two games like by himself.
Yeah.
I don't get it. He's some kind of genius. We should celebrate dudes
incredible.
like that. Screw you, Elon Musk. We're talking about Peter or what is Lucas Pope.
take that.
Yeah, take that. All right.
So that was my spooky game exploration. Beyond that, most of my time has been going into Fortnite still, playing a lot of that with the family. It's Star Wars week, which is fun. Like, Darth Vader's down on the map. You can find lightsabers and blasters down there, which are really fun to play with. My wife is a huge fan that lightsabers are in the game because playing on the Switch, where it's really hard to aim, just swinging a big energy sword is exactly her speed. She's like, I don't want the Star Wars event to end. I kill so many people finally. So, I'm having a good time with that, and having a bunch of Star Wars in there is pretty good.
Nice.
I did buy an emote that puts me on a tiny little speeder bike that goes like slower than a Vespa, and it cracks me up every time, and it feels good. So that game is stupid and fun.
Do you think that's an
I'm
inside
having a
joke
blast.
at the Boba Fett speeders that were too slow? No one liked how slow they were on that show.
I don't know, but it feels slightly faster than those.
Wow.
Not by much.
Okay.
Slightly faster
Slightly.
than the Book of Boba Fett speeders.
Look,
Yeah.
it's an improvement, I suppose. All right, it's down to Bo and his what he played this week. Bo, what'd you play this week? What's going on?
I mostly Snap and Overwatch, so not much to say, but I did play Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners finally.
Yeah,
The
VR
not
game.
a premiere, so again, like all VR things, people will rave about something, but maybe it's because it's their first experience or it's from years ago. Overall, though, it's pretty cool. I just don't like the cell shaded graphics that much, even in the VR space. However, the nice thing it features is advanced killing. So
Advanced killing.
like
Whoa.
zombie style killing, where it's you don't just when I was doing Blade and Sorcery, I stabbed the body,
Yeah.
pull it out. Well, this one you gotta wedge it into somebody, and then you gotta stick it in a little further. So it's like you'll put your knife in a skull, but then you gotta push it through the skull with some force. So it's kind of fun when you're playing in VR to stick someone and then grab their head and go, just like they do in the show, right? Like, and it's not just a knife. You can get a blunt screwdriver and shove that in the zombie's eye, and it'll get stuck, and then you got to drive it in further to make sure you get the brain.
How do they simulate it getting stuck if there's no resistance on your hand?
Well, it will resist. Like, there's no resistance on
Oh.
your hand, but your hand will stop, and then you've got to shove. It'll like give you a moment to go, and then shove further. And now for big weapons, like there's a two-handed fire axe, you just got to hit hard enough. Unfortunately, if you don't hit hard enough, it does weird elasticy rubber band stuff, and I always hate that. But you don't have to swing hard; it's just the amount of swing. They said so you don't punch the wall or something. But the atmosphere of this game's really good. You have a home base, and you go out and help people, and they give you decisions, and maybe they betray you, and maybe they don't. Very Walking Dead, but it deserves a lot of the accolades. I really enjoy being a part of the world. There's a whole backpack, and there's a lot of there are a lot of interactables. Like you see the way you're healing, you got to wrap the bandage around your arm, so you literally have to do that with the controllers.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate a lot of those things. So I got through the tutorial and I did the first mission, and discovered you'll see that this is home base where you have to go out and scavenge for supplies so that you can get your equipment and build up your base.
Ugh, you're in your home base is like an above ground cemetery. Gross.
Yeah, and it's in VR, so it really feels like you're making a home in a cemetery. Like, it doesn't feel good.
Jeez.
But you can take your boat out. You've got all the good trappings of a VR game. You got your notebook with all your menu items, which is great. You have a flashlight. You got pockets. Again, the one thing we need to deal with, because I like to sit down and play these VR games, it's got good controls and good customization, but the pockets need to be. When you're sitting down, it's hard to put things in your pockets because you're blocked by the chair you're sitting in, right? So it can be awkward. Yeah. I like over the shoulder, but I'm not a big fan of pockets. I even have like flashlight on the chest, book on this side, backpack, two-handed weapon, but like getting ammo out of the belt pouch.
Yeah.
It's not the best thing for VR because I'm not always standing and I don't want to be digging in my crotch every time I need shotgun shells. Like it's annoying. Like, where is it? Next thing you know, you got your hand on your balls and you're like, where are my shotgun shells?
Wow.
So it's but it's real. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm looking forward to playing. I kind of wanted to save it for a stream because I know people do ask if I should play a scary game, and this seems like scary enough, but also nice and violent and,
So
well made.
my understanding was this particular game was more run and gun and shoot, and it's lots of shooting, but it looks more methodic and build stuff and take your time.
No, I think that's Onslaught. That's doesn't review well. I think that plays in VR. Walking Dead Onslaught.
Oh, I might be
which
thinking
it had
of that.
like Rick
Yeah.
Grimes. It actually has, I think, some of the voice actors and Daryl and stuff. This is like a Telltale game featuring. If graphically, it feels a bit like a Telltale game, and it features characters I haven't seen so far. But I do. What I really appreciated the knifing mechanics. Also, you can flip the knife, so you can hold it overhand or underhand, like Wakizashi style. So you can go stab, stab, or you can just do the traditional shank motion.
Gotcha.
And the animation to flip looks pretty cool.
I'll
It's got
bet.
good knife and stabbing mechanics.
Good knife tech.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is the Saints reference because you're in New Orleans? Is that what's going on?
I think so. It definitely is New Orleans. I haven't really wrapped my head around why the title is called that. Basically, there's a guy who's there. He dies early on. You inherit his stuff, and he's like, make sure to get that stash. And there's a bunch of bad dudes around. It's pretty like, it's not beating you over the head with any Walking Dead lore, which is kind of nice. It's like almost like generic zombie game with Walking Dead brand on it. But it has the trademarked hopelessness and despair and meeting other humans part. And the enemies so far are just walkers. We're not talking about super science zombies or anything like that. They're just other humans and walkers.
Right.
But atmosphere wise, it's pretty good. And I really appreciate the stabbing mechanics. Honestly, I was like, pretty good stabbing mechanics. Like, like Blade and Sorcery overall, probably more moddable and a little more fun in that regard. But it definitely, if you feel a bit more heft and weight to stabbing. The training zone's kind of fun too because it's zombies, but they have bags over their heads and their arms are cut off, so they're just flailing around. You got to practice stabbing them in the head. It's kind of funny. It's just disturbing. And they're like in tires, right? So we've put tires around them so they can't walk anywhere, and they have no bitey parts.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's apart from the other two games, which I played a lot of. This was the other experience I got.
Yeah, I'm curious about this one more now after hearing your description because I didn't.
I bought
realize...
a bunch of VR. I just didn't get them all booted up yet. I got Super Hot and.
I love Super Hot.
Super
I don't know
Hot.
about
I do have
VR,
some-
but I love Super
So
Hot.
good.
Yeah, I got Super Hot VR and I picked up. Oh, I did have an experience with Doom VFR.
Yeah, how's that?
It was on sale for $5. It's just not worth talking about because I couldn't get it's Quest 1. It's like pretty old control schema. And I couldn't use any of the updated things to turn. It literally wants you to be standing up turning. There's no turn. There's not even a rotate option, like rotate 90 degrees.
Mhm.
Like you literally the only way to turn is to actually stand in the direction. I'm like, oh. And they have some Steam control binds, but it involves pushing tilde and putting the instructions in, which I did, and they didn't work. So I'm still sort of figuring out if this is even playable.
And it's Doom
But-
2016 and modded,
It's
or
the
is
2016.
Okay.
It's the actual intended for Doom VR experience.
Oh, okay.
So far in the opening, I did get chased by one of those pink beasts, and it's awesome.
Ugh.
If anything, my thirst for 3D Doom is even higher, which is more frustrating that I couldn't even get the control scheme. I've had so much bad luck. I tried to get Doom 3 in VR, and that failed. Now Doom VFR doesn't work. And there's actually a way to get Doom Eternal to run, but I'm using this thing called Helix Vision. But my graphics card's too new, and the old rolled back NVIDIA drivers aren't compatible with the damn
Boo.
video card I have.
Boo.
So I couldn't get that working. And I was like, oh, come on. id someone working at id Software, like, let's go. Doom Eternal VR, native, free update, right in the Doom Eternal app. Just give me stereoscopic vision. Don't need any hand controls, although that'd be great if you did it. I just live with stereoscopic vision that's just click on. No Man's Sky can do this.
Yeah, they
Which
could do it.
I also played some No Man's Sky in VR. Beautiful, not that much fun to play in VR.
Yeah.
Is this guy? Has he figured out? He's strafing. He can't turn.
He's in the tutorial, so I assume he's just learning.
I don't see him though, but he's strafing. He's not turning. Like, turning is, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just want to say to VR developers, like, just make the thumbsticks like traditional thumbsticks. Like, let me turn with right, let me move around, let me sit down. VR, I think we're just, when we think about VR, we're thinking about tech demos. Like, wow, you're standing up. It's like you're really there.
Yeah.
The actual use case for a lot of games is going to be the same as flat screen. I'm sitting down playing video games. Like, make it easy for me to sit down. I don't need the experience to be realistic, right? Like, I don't have to jump. I don't have to bounce my legs when I press A on the controller in Mario to jump. So it's okay if my belt are up near my boobs, and I don't have to reach all the way down to my actual belt to get my shotgun shells. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, just like we can video game convention some of these things, and it's still like an amazing VR experience. And I think Alex has been the closest to nailing a lot of that.
I want Proteus. Can they do Proteus in VR? Let's get that done.
Yeah, I mean, I think there, hopefully it can't come soon enough that all games just like have a switch. Here's your stereo Scott. You've got an RTX 3060 or 3070. Just here's VR. Like, just turn the VR on if you want it and shut up.
Yeah.
Bo. Or play flat screen and everyone's happy. Like, I don't need the full immersion experience, but 3D is still cool.
3D is cool. I agree.
Yeah. Like, 3D space is neat. It's more visceral. It gets your heart pumping when demons are flying at you. Yeah, I will say on the No Man's Sky front, it is neat, but it's a little too convoluted, and like you have to remember the base game doesn't do things exceptional, like dogfighting. Just play Star Wars Squadrons.
Yeah.
Survival games. I don't know. It's just not. I don't know. It's No Man's Sky is a fun flat screen game. I don't think it pops and looks cool, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. It's hard to explain why, but I wasn't really.
I think the game itself is more fiddly than VR. VR needs to have. Well, you just said it about the other game. Like, some gameplay stuff you need to make VR friendly to make it better. And I don't.
Yeah, I think. I just think it wasn't. There wasn't. I think survival games in general are not that interesting in VR. I could be mistaken, but I feel like that's like. There's definitely games you don't play. I wouldn't imagine are very good in VR. Like a Civ, I don't want to play in VR. I want to play it on the flat screen with the menus and the buttons, and all the UI is really important to that experience, right?
Yeah, but what if it was a giant map and you were dragging it forward and grabbing your little units and putting them around on the board? You don't have to be
it's neat. I like Demio, but like, just I don't, how spreadsheety or how much, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, clicking through all the menus and being lost in menus seems like it's more visually organizable on flat screen, I guess.
I agree. I agree with
I could be wrong. I'm leaving room to be mistaken. I just don't know that every experience is improved by VR for sure.
Sure.
And I think I've done, because I played a bit of Elite Dangerous too. I don't know. My rationale is space. Like, the 3D jumps out at a certain range close to you, and if it's far away, just like in real life, it just looks like space.
Yeah. Like,
it just looks like a bunch of flat, and like, yeah, the planet looks a little out, but it's not awe-inspiring. I'm like, but when you're talking to that guy, whatever his name is in Half-Life Alyx, and he's reacting to you, and he's right in front of you, you're like, whoa, this is.
Yeah.
Like, if we just make that AI jump, I could be like, I don't know. It's just really cool and inspiring when things are within your close range in VR. But I find far away, it's not as exciting, I guess.
I get you.
Well, anyways, but I like Walking Dead. It was good.
There you go. Walking Dead, everybody. Keep walking. Oh, look at this. Here's the rest of the notable news for today. There's a rumor a new Deus Ex game is in development. I would be very happy about this if it turns out to be true. They're no longer under the tyrannical thumb of Square Enix. Perhaps they can do whatever they want now. I don't know. Yeah. But they're making it. Early development if it's happening in Montreal, Eidos of Montreal. Bo, are you excited? Are you going to get your
yeah, please. This is, I've been saying this forever. Like, please let Eidos make Deus Ex. It's my favorite thing they do. So, if they're happy doing it, I'm happy to see them doing it.
Would it still be Adam Jensen, do you think, or a different story?
I think we have a story to finish. Let's get Adam Jensen 3.
Okay. Please. I'm all in. I'm this close. Once I finished Red Dead, I think I'm going to play through that again. because I love that
I mean,
game.
I'll never get sick of listening to Elias Tufexis. I never asked for that. Like his voice is Adam
That's so
Jensen.
good.
Like,
It's so
I know the classic is a classic, and in a way, like the follow-ups are kind of in the shadow of it, but they're pretty damn good games.
Mm-hmm.
I still think about doing another playthrough of the Human Revolution and Mankind Divided, and a third game would give me a perfect excuse to go through them all again. Some of my favorite games.
Mankind Divided is the second one, right?
Yeah.
I always get them mixed up. The names are terrible. Then
They're pretty like uninspiring, or they don't really strike the imagine. They're not memorable.
Yeah.
And
as a result, they just make me forget which one's which. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to start that again. People are like, that's the first game. I'm like, no, I don't mean that one. I mean the second one.
I usually just remember by saying Division is like structurally it makes sense for things to be together than fall apart. So Division would be 2.
And before anyone out there goes, oh, aren't they old? That game came out the same year as No Man's Sky, which everyone plays like it's current. So, 2016 is not that long ago. I'll play that game again.
It's how many Cyberpunk RPGs do you get?
I know, right? There need to be more.
What else? What other like AAA level quality Cyberpunk RPGs are there? Like I'll play them instead if they were around.
What was that one that EA made? It was based on the old isometric 90s game called They basically made it a shooter, but it was pretty good. Syndicate. Dude, I loved that newer Syndicate game, and then they quit making them.
That's something I never played, actually. I should give
really
that
good.
Whirl.
Really good.
Just before we go on other news and notes, we skipped 2 sections, just to FYI.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Restructuring.
Oh,
could
shit.
use both those sections, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry. This is all
Well,
throwing
let's finish
me off.
this one now that we've done
Yeah,
it.
I'll rip
we've
through
started it. We'll just move
Yeah,
on.
we started it. We'll finish it. Hearthstone, they're adding Death Knights. They got a new expansion. They're doing a thing.
Great.
So.
I added this, and then I'm like,
Well, that's why it's a small story. We saved it for later. It's fine. But if you're into Hearthstone, you know what you want. You know what's up.
It seems exciting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also, reviews for God of War Ragnarok are maybe expectantly very, very good. We're currently sitting at a Metacritic score of 94 out of 100 average. Lots of 100s on here. Yeah, it seems like a real serious monster hit.
Seems like it might be time to rob my parents.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
It might be time for a little theft.
Things like, listen to this quote from Game Rant. It doesn't just live up to high expectations, but it subverts them and expands beyond them all at the same time. There's nothing quite like it on PS4 or on PS5 yet, and it would be hard for anything to live up to the same heights. Ragnarok may not make full use of the PS5's features because, they're cross-generation on this one. They have to. As there's nothing necessarily groundbreaking that couldn't be done on the PS4, but it's absolute proof of vision, artistry, and creative direction far outweighing the hardware it's playing on.
God of War that good? Like,
it's
Yeah.
great.
I look at it and I'm
really
like,
good.
It's so good.
I'm like, it can't be that good, right?
No,
And
it's
like
good.
Overwhelmingly positive, nothing but praise, and I'm like,
Amazing game, Bo. You should play it.
Yeah.
I know
really,
it's on.
really
It's
good.
wish listed. I keep looking at it.
It's real good.
I remember, I think it was just the funniest story to me is that for the longest time, we talk about it, Scott, you and I, and we talk about it before There Will Be Dungeons. And I feel like Kyle very early on was like, nope, God of War is God of War 1, 2, and 3. I don't want Kratos dead. I don't want him moody. I want him angry and destroying things.
Yeah.
And then recently I found out Kyle played it.
Yep.
And I was really excited. But I listened to him talk about it finally, and he's like, why didn't anybody tell me about this game? And I was like, dude, we did. We tried to tell you, man.
Yeah.
We tried to tell you how good it was. And he's like, it's so good. But that would be my comment to you, Bo, is keep in mind, Kyle, very skeptical about if this game could even possibly be good. And he loves it.
Yeah,
So,
he really likes it.
Different reasons. The story element is not a turnoff. I'm not a big fan of open world third-person action games, or even
It's
third-person.
not,
It's not really open world.
The open world is negligible.
I agree.
It's kind of there if you want to engage with it, but it is presented in a way where it still feels kind of linear.
Yeah.
And then at a couple points, you'll find yourself on a boat and you'll be like, oh, I could go somewhere else if I wanted to, but if I don't, there's where I'm going.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean,
mean?
That's a good way.
It looks dope,
It is dope.
and I think maybe when it was a PlayStation exclusive, it was easy to ignore, but it's I've wishlisted it. Every time I open Steam, it's like Steam recommends God of War, and I'm like,
Yeah. It's really that good, and part of the reason it's great in my mind, I know no one else thinks of it this way, but I love a story in video games where they take something old and just reinvent it in a way that completely blows my mind. Because
the thing is, I got 50 games like that. Ziggurat's in there right now, reminding me that he bought me Death Stranding in the chat room.
Oh, right.
He's like, Death Stranding's the same way. Everyone's like, why did you tell me about this sooner? And I got Sekiro, and apparently, what was it, 704 who gifted that to me, and he's like, that's a great game. You'd really like it if you liked Elden Ring. And I'm like,
and now someone's going to gift you God of War, and you'll play it eventually. That's how it'll go.
I promise. I haven't streamed a bit, but anyone who watches or follows there, I'm gonna do like a tapas spread of
tapas,
like tapas,
all the games that people have bought me, which is like almost literally.
You can do that on Twitch.
It's almost in the double digits. Yes, Inscription 2. There's a whole cadre of games. That people have bought me. I'm just going to be like 20 minutes. I'm going to set a clock and just try all the games for 20 minutes at least.
You should do it. You should. Because Sekiro, well, here's your reminder. That's from Sekiro. You can't, only ninjas die twice or whatever it is. You gotta do that.
I'm told, the games I'm missing out on, Inscription's another one.
Yeah.
And I'm over here dinking around and Walking Dead in VR.
Tap that ass, man.
Tap that ass.
You guys you never heard of tapas?
No, we call it tapas here.
Yeah, I've heard of tapas.
Tapas?
Done it. I'm
tapas.
a father,
I always hear
but,
tapas. You guys want tapas? Oh, sweet. Let's go to the place that does.
So my problem is where I got the pronunciation from was probably where I first heard it, which was the IT crowd.
Yeah.
And it might be Maurice Moss mispronouncing it. That might be part of the joke, and because I didn't know it beforehand. It's tapas or tapas or something.
Yeah.
Tapas, or it might just be British pronunciation of tapas.
Well, I'm sure I don't say poutine, right? It's poutine or something, right?
Poutine.
Yeah, we all say poutine down here.
Yeah, poutine is not. It's poutine.
Yeah, what's wrong with us?
So you guys say it's weird because you guys have people with French last names.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have LaCroix.
Yeah.
Right? And it's LaCroix. Like we're saying it's so wrong, but how could you say it any other way if all you speak is English? Like I get it, but so poutine is a French word. You just gotta say it with the right.
Also, if you drink LaCroix,
Vladimir Putin.
That's what I think every time he says it. I was like,
Vladimir Putin. If you drink LaCroix, the drink, you're a psycho and it's gross. It's very bad. Don't drink LaCroix. Okay.
We had a rat that lived behind a fountain in my front yard at my parents' house, and I named him LaCroix, and I don't know why, but that's the name I picked for him.
Have you ever heard Steven Seagal say Vladimir Putin because he loves him and stuff, wants to hump his leg all the time, and this is how he says it.
Vladimir Putin.
What an ass.
I don't like when people throw the accent in if they're not from the place. I think that's...
Yeah, but he wants to hump that dude constantly.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't think that's good. Do people find that endearing? Like,
I don't.
I don't know if it's hard with our accent because our accent's dumb anyway. But like, if somebody was trying to say, like, I'm trying to think of something that's like distinctly American. But if somebody like Cheese Crisp, if a British person was like, "Oh yes, you were over there with your cheese crisp," I'd be like, he didn't do me any favors. Like that sounds really offensive. Actually.
It's how Randy says. He says machete instead of machete.
It's the same principle. Machete. Don't lean into it. Just own where you're from.
Yeah.
Own where you're from.
That's right. Own where you're from. Say it dumb. Where you're from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that LaCroix is the cross.
Oh, well, that is my cross to bear because that drink sucks.
That drink is literally called the cross.
Yeah.
So if you had a drink and someone called it the cross, like you'd probably hesitate toward it. You're like,
it is my LaCroix to bear, is what I will say.
Is this the blood of Christ? Do I like blood? Do I want to drink it?
Well, it compels me. So there you go. All right. Let's move on now to, as you mentioned, we mix these up a little bit. We're doing Dear Martha now. Okay. Dear Martha time. Yes, that's right. John's put together a little magazine review from something of your... And we're going to do it right now. John, any setup for this? Anything special you want to do?
No,
here?
There's 2 images. They're already in Discord. You might have to scroll up for them.
Yeah, I saw those. Those look great. I own this magazine. I own this very issue. I should have brought it in here when I knew you were posting this, but I didn't. I have it, though. Anyway, let's get started now with this edition of Dear Martha.
My dearest Martha, I write to you today with yet another infamous video game magazine. Next Generation Magazine, issue 26 from February 1997. This issue is the often memed on Unreal. Yes, this is an actual PC game screenshot issue, and the memes are earned. While I am back in time, I do wish I could have my mind go back to a place where their cover could be as mind-blowing as they think it is. As it stands, I can't imagine ever thinking this was mind-blowing, but I'm sure I did. The magazine really doubles down on this, though. They refer to it multiple times as the best-looking game ever. And I remember thinking it looked great, but now it all just seems a little silly. The magazine, though, is a real text-heavy one. Next Generation was not messing around. They wanted to test your literacy at every turn. Pictures? That's for the front cover. If you move beyond your mortal desire for pretty pictures, though, this magazine is kinda great. We are right at the cusp of all the big players coming into their full powers. PC gaming is getting into some massive 3D graphic improvements. The war between Sony and Nintendo is going full tilt, while Sega watches from the closet dreaming of something new. But I think what I loved above all was their Video Games Fact or Fiction article, a wonderful light on the weird rumors and stories that exist in this hobby. How many of these have you heard? Nolan Bushnell stole Pong.
I have heard that.
Alexei Pajitnov and others sold the game Tetris rights to multiple Western interests. There is a landfill full of ET Atari cartridges.
It's true.
Sony helped design the NES,
Word.
Super NES, and Nintendo 64.
Mm.
Mario is based on an actual New York landlord. You can see Orchid naked in Killer Instinct. Nintendo and Sony almost made the PlayStation together.
Yep.
The US Marine Corps used a Doom wad to help train soldiers.
Yep, they did.
In Japan, there is official porn of many video game characters.
What?
Many of these are based in reality, if not totally true. What a weird-ass place we play in. Advertisements were not as bad this go-round, but I have to appreciate the subtle shades/gatekeeping that Fallout decides to throw out there with its tagline, "If you play only one real RPG this year, it will have to be Fallout." The underline of the word real is not subtle, but you know what we call everything RPGs these days, so I guess it's a fair line to draw. The future is here, Martha. It's the video game Unreal. Graphics so good, they'll cover their magazine in it and become a meme for all time. But you know what? They were also kind of right. Because Unreal is still pushing graphics, long after magazines are dead and gone.
Oh, man.
Yours in time, S. Beckett 97.
I really like that one. That was really great. I feel like you really covered it, and I love the ending. This could be a book one day, everybody. Subscribe.
How many of those myths had you heard?
Almost all of them. The only one I
Yeah.
didn't know was the N64 one. Sony had a hand in that or whatever it was.
So the rumor is that they helped design. The reality of it is that there are Sony chips in the NES, the Super NES, and the N64.
Okay. That would make sense. That's like how there's Samsung RAM and Sony cameras in every iPhone you buy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Always a little bit
it's
weird.
just-
Canadian Nintendo 64s have ketchup chips.
Oh, that sounds so good right now. It's my favorite thing you guys do up there. Ketchup chips.
Yeah, they are good.
They're so
Yeah,
good.
they're tasty.
Well, great
Ketchup
work.
Doritos. Wow.
Great work as always. It's time for this.
That's a good question.
Emails. That's right. We got some emails to read. I got one here from, let's see. This is from Adam C. He sent it to talktothecore@gmail.com. He says, Core Bros. Oh, I don't know if I like that or not. It's okay, I guess.
Core Bros.
Core Bros, how you feel about that? Should be Core Hounds, right?
As
Yeah,
long
Core
as
Hounds. We're not
all
bros
of
here.
our last names are Mario.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Scott Mario, John Mario, and Bo Mario.
Yeah, we're the Mario brothers.
We're the three
Anyway,
lost Mario brothers next to Mario, Mario, and Luigi Mario.
he says, I've been keeping up with the Core and Play Retro podcast for a long time now. One of my favorite segments is Guess My Game on Play Retro. So maybe I'm letting the pods bleed together a little with this one, but here it goes. Recently, Scott switched up the little jingle he plays before the first main segment of the Core show. I've been racking my brain trying to remember where I've heard it before. I know deep in my soul I've played this game, but I can't dig up the source of that tune from my memory. Please rescue me from my torture and tell me what that sound is from, says Adam. So he's referring to, just to freshen everyone's memory, this right here. Here's the problem. I don't know where I got it.
Oh no, he is gonna be
What's the
so
file name?
It is
sad.
called, oh, good question, Bo. I'm glad you asked.
Can't you
Let's
sing
see.
it into Shazam?
It is called... It's called Big News of the Week, which is where I have it. Someone out there will know. It's an old song, or it's an old game. Oh, you know what? It just hit me. Oh, crap.
Chat says Choplifter. Is
It's
it
not Choplifter. That's the in joke on. They think everything I play is from Choplifter as a joke. So when we do Guess Our Game, they yell Choplifter in the chat. They're all being idiots.
Okay. I should be a part of the meme culture of Play
Whatever.
Retro.
You can't know them all, but I don't remember. It's some retro game. It's old. It's like you finished a level in something. It's a platformer. I don't freaking remember. Is it Mario?
Yeah,
It's not Mario.
I don't know. Scott, sounds
Adam literally came to my stream chat yesterday asking me if I knew, and I told him to write in, and I guess this is the result of that.
Yeah, but I
And
will.
then I saw him in chat at the beginning, hoping that his email got read.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this
feel
one.
bad, Adam.
This one right here that I used just a minute ago. It's a little long, but that one, it's only 6 seconds, but that one is Galaga 88 is where that's from. So I know that because I just captured it. But this thing I don't remember.
Was it a golf game?
No.
What
No.
about the game you did art for?
No, it's
Sorry,
definitely not
keep
Lock
going
and
with
Chase. No, not that. It's something like
How old? What generation are we talking about here?
this was either NES or 16-bit, but it definitely wasn't Genesis. It was either probably NES actually. Yeah, that's Genesis. Or sorry, that's NES sounding to me. So I think that's where I got it. But I don't remember. And in my head, it was a jaunty platformer of some sort. That wasn't Mario and wasn't Zelda or anything.
Was it a Mickey Mouse one? Is it one of the ones with Mickey in it?
Maybe. I like Castle of Illusion was really
Castle, yeah, Castle of Illusion.
Frick.
So now I know what Adam needs to do. He needs to get an emulator and play every NES game ever made.
There you
Just
go.
the platformers. That's it.
Well,
Just
hold
the
on. Does
platformer.
Shazam, the website, let me... I wonder if I can make that work. Hold on. Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam might tell you.
Okay, so
Or
I'm going
just
to...
upload it to YouTube, see if you get takedown notice.
I guess I will.
Yeah.
Shoot. I don't
So
freaking
you
know.
get a take down notice from people are saying Google does it.
Does Google do it with sounds? How? Hold on. Google
I
sound
guess.
search.
I don't know.
Hold on. Let's do Google sound search.
Just yell into Google. Google. what is this?
Chat room suggesting play it 5 times in a row. Maybe it will.
Really? Okay, well, we've done it at least 4. I'll do it one more. Here. Nope. I don't know what it is, and I also think they are talking about Google's voice assistant the same way you would do an Echo, which you have to play it out loud to one of those things, and I don't have the ability to do that here at the moment.
Wait a second. What about? Let's put Siri to use. How do you activate Siri?
You just hit a
Siri,
button.
hello.
Watch a bunch of old people try and figure out technology. How does Siri work? Siri, what are you doing?
Well, I've disabled Siri. So that,
How do you work?
I forget how I turned that back on.
Let's see.
Yeah, stop making fun of me.
I'm looking here.
I'm not old.
Okay, so I can let's see. Oh, you know what? I can do this over speaker here. Okay, here we go. Oh, we don't have the file here. Okay, hold on. This will take me just a second. Everybody calm the F down. We're going to make this work. This is kind of fun, actually, to see what the deal is. Okay, here we go. I'm going to play this over.
People are... is Excitebike a guessing meme as well? Am I falling for it multiple times? Is this a Choplifter? Because I could see that being Excitebike.
It could be Excitebike. Definitely not Choplifter. Okay, here it is. Okay. All right, I'm going to play this for... Okay, here we go. Siri, what is this song? Okay, I probably shouldn't have said song, but... Okay. Okay, it's doing it. It's doing the recognition. It's trying. It's making the effort. It's blinking. Shazam is trying as well.
What if it comes back Choplifter?
Oh, I just had the worst experience. I was about to sneeze, and then the sneeze went away. Oh
no, Bo. Are you all right?
You know, when it's about to come out, and then it doesn't come out, and you're like, oh.
So that's how it ends.
All right,
Shazam
Shazam says it can't recognize it because it's just a little blip from a video game, not a song they can find.
That.
I think we're screwed. We don't know. We'll figure it out between now and next week. Okay. Now we're all sick of hearing it. All right. This next email is just a nice one, and I wanted to mention it because I think this dude is cool. His name is Nick Odom. And Nick Odom says, "Hey, Scott, I'm a longtime fan of the show and your other work. Extra Life Radio is the first podcast I ever listened to. Oh, my Lord. It was a long time ago. 2004, baby.
A lot of people's first.
That's true. I made this little dog walking sim. It's a simple and non-violent 2D indie game.
Nice.
It sounds like it deserves one of these right here. Where is it? Right here.
Work harder!
It sounds like a chorecore. Anyway. It says works on a Steam Deck, and I'm sure someone will say it looks like it was made in a day. I think he's talking to you, Bo. I often listen to your podcast while driving with the dog or just in the yard playing fetch, so I thought it would be fun to send you guys some keys. So he sent us 3 Steam keys. Anyway, keep up the good work, Nick Odom. Dude, that was awesome of you. Thank you. I'm going to try your game out. And
these are keys for...
Yes, for this game.
Where you walk your dog. Oh, wow, we go... Okay.
I know, we got love this week.
Shower love this week.
Lots of keys.
Yeah, this one, the guy made the game. We also got Darktide keys from Hans Sugensen, who I know I'm saying his name wrong, but dude, that was so nice of you. We're all going to play the hell out of this game, and so the fact that you did that was incredibly kind. Thank you for that.
That's really nice. Yeah, no, I'm downloading right now.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you, everybody who does that sort of stuff.
How do you get a game on Steam? My God.
It's really nice. I know. We know people who make games. Isn't that cool?
Shocking. I don't believe it.
You know what?
Keep sending me keys, and I'll eventually believe.
Here's the core. Here's the core game. If we were to make a game around core, it would be the whole point of the game is to find out where that came from. That would be the game.
It's just solving that.
We have homework. We have to play this game though. Like very rarely does someone who's like, "I made the game."
I know.
Please play it. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
and I like it. It's a non-violent game. It's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm already intrigued.
Me too. So we'll install that and check it out. All right. Finally, a couple of texts. These are quick from some people. We got one here from Baylel in the chat. He says, in a recent interview, Phil Spencer said that Game Pass subscriptions will likely increase in price sometime next year. If so, how much are you willing to pay for Ultimate? I would pay as much as... I think they can't get away with anything more than $19.99. Right now it's $14.99. I don't think they can go more than $20.
I think that's probably true. I actually don't think it's going to go up, or if it does, it's going to go up barely any. Because what Phil Spencer said was that we are locked price on many things, including game, console, and subscription, and I don't think that it can stay that way. My guess, if I had to put a prediction down, Sony's already charging more for new games.
Right.
You match Sony, so you look good because you were the last one to do it.
Yeah.
Create parity. But if you increase the cost of games, you actually are increasing the value of Game Pass at the same time.
I
because
agree.
As soon as you say like, oh, hey, yeah, games are more expensive now, doesn't this subscription that keeps you from having to pay that increased price look really good to you? I bet it does. Like, that's a natural increase to Game Pass. So even if Game Pass went up a little bit with it, like increasing the cost of games to match everybody else, I think is a positive for Microsoft. I think they come away looking really good with it.
I agree, and
So
I hadn't
that
thought
would
about
be my
how
prediction.
Yeah, and I
And
forgot about how
console, I
vague
think,
that
will
was.
go up in prices.
Yeah, because consoles, I think that writing's on the wall. But I don't. You're right. I think you're right. It doesn't mean anything about subscriptions. Anyway, we'll see. We got one more here from Becca Smiles, who says, "Hi, core friends. On the last episode, Bo talked about changing his name to Rainbow. His last name is German, Schwartz. It equals black, and I think Rainbow Black sounds like a really cool name. Love the show, Becca.
Yeah.
That's
No, my
actually
name is
true.
Handsome Black.
Oh,
We
handsome.
talked
Black.
about this on the show. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Because
Bo
Bo
is
is
French
the name
for
Rainbow
handsome.
Black does sound cool.
Rainbow Black is cool.
Rainbow. Yeah, it's the sequel to Orphan Black.
Yeah, dude.
But- Yeah, Rainbow Black. There's a lot of cool remixes. Rainbow Black, Handsome Black. They all work.
Would you feel if your name changed to Rainbow and it was mandated by the government or something, and that you had to be Rainbow Black, like the whole name had to change to Rainbow Black? Would you feel compelled, like you had to at least go to at least one gay bar and experiment a little? You know what I mean?
I've been to a gay bar.
Why?
Because
Why would that be
just
the
the rainbow
case?
part. The rainbow part would make you
Wait,
feel like, you know what? I want to
hang
be a
on.
part of this
Let-
world. I want to experience some of
I
this.
have to ask a clarifying question.
Yeah.
Is the key the gay bar or is the key homosexual experimentation? So
Uh,
I've been to a gay bar.
I have
but
too.
As a straight man.
I did too. I've
But-
done that once
Yeah.
with a friend. We were there for, I can't even remember why, but we were not there for any of the we did not dabble in the
yeah.
arts of the male on male. However, they were I've been to a bunch of bars in my life. I don't drink, so my time in there is always a sober time.
Right.
And every single of all the bars I've ever been to, that gay bar, the nicest people I ever talked to in my life in that bar.
Yeah, sure.
They were so nice, dude. It made everybody else seem dumb and lame.
I haven't been very often. For me, it's theater. Like when I was a volunteer at the Fringe Fest here in Ottawa, people, a lot of a little secret. I'll let you know a little secret. A lot of gay people in the theater.
Yeah.
So like you end
As
up
it
at the gay
turns out.
bar.
Someone
And
in the
it's fine.
chat,
Whatever.
someone in the chat says, "Are there gay bars in Utah?" Yes, of course there are.
There are gay bars.
There are gay bars
everywhere.
everywhere.
I haven't been to a gay bar, but we have a gay Denny's here.
I'm sorry. Back that truck up. There's a gay
Yeah.
Denny's, and what makes
There's
it
a gay
gay?
Denny's.
Is there just
It's a Denny's that a lot of gay people frequent, enough so that it's known as gay Denny's.
Wait, is that real?
I
Yes, it's real. Yes, and it's
love it.
great. Honestly,
Okay.
I've been to a lot of Denny's. It's the only one I like. So
It's a weird thing to make gay. Like I've got a gay Coles
hey,
in my neighborhood.
sometimes it is 1 a.m. and you need to go out to eat.
You need
okay?
eggs. You need eggs. At
Yeah,
1 a.m.
It just
Yeah.
happens. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but like, what makes it gay?
That it's a safe space for everybody to go and hang out and have Denny's. Like it's
I mean,
great.
That's wholesome. That's a wholesome response. I was thinking like it has rainbows or something. Like
No, it's
No,
just,
it's just
a
a
Denny's,
Denny's.
that a lot of gay people go to, and it's delicious.
I love that. I
That's
love
it.
that. Nothing wrong with that. I think that's great. I want more gay Denny's. I want one here. I'd go to a gay Denny's.
what do you? Okay, I don't want to. We don't need to dissect this too much, but I'm just like, because not everyone's like overtly gay. There could be a gay Denny's in Ottawa, but
Mhm.
I just don't know because nobody's signaling the usual, the stereotypical gay things and stuff. Right?
Sure,
So-
yeah. No, my guess is it's
So
word
are
of
you
mouth.
saying it's like very outwardly like, so I'll have a hamburger?
Oh,
and have some
so
fries.
Bo's going this
Like,
direction.
No,
How is it
it's
like?
not
How
a
is it the gay
stereotype,
Denny's?
it's
Like
just-
I'm trying to
it's
picture
just-
it.
it looks like a regular Denny's. You might. I don't know how to say it. It's just a place. It's just a place,
Sure.
and the percentage of chance of seeing a gay couple there, I guess, is higher than other places.
Is
Like
this Googleable?
it's
Gay
not
Denny's.
insanely flamboyant. Like,
Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Denny's,
Yeah,
Arizona.
Phoenix, where the sun
I don't
Here's
shines.
a
know
Reddit
if it's-
thread for my Central Phoenix people. Let's see what
Let's
this
see.
says.
It's not. It's
I'm
just a
not gay,
place.
but gay Denny's is a great place to people watch and meet all kinds of people.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
It's the gay Denny's.
It's just a place. It's
on
not.
7th Street and Camelback is referred affectionately as Gay Denny's or Jenny's.
Oh, they have one in San Diego as well. They call it Gay Denny's.
It doesn't have to be like a flamboyantly gay place to be Gay Denny's. It's just a Denny's.
It's just
Like,
where like a bunch
Call
of gay
it that
folks.
because after the Melrose District gay bars close, which is nearby on 7th Avenue, everyone heads there. Melrose is the gayborhood. So see, I get it now. Okay, the gay bars are in the area. When the bars close down, that's where here in Canada you go to the chip stand and get a poutine, right? When you're drunk and it's 3 a.m.,
Yeah.
you go for the poutine. In Arizona, you go to Gay Denny's.
Yeah, you go to Gay Denny's. I love
This
that.
is great. It's whole. It's just when you call it that to me, I'm like, is it because everyone's wearing men are wearing shorts to cut short? How did it earn that name? I need to know.
Yeah.
This is wholesome and great.
Sure.
So
I agree.
I was curious. That's
Yeah,
all.
I like that it's not somebody else calling it that because they think a bunch of gay people are there.
Not only
Like,
men
No,
are gay,
no,
great.
no,
A bunch of
it's-
women wearing flannel shirts too. It's like, oh, this must be a gay place. We got a lot of flannel shirt with sleeves cut off. And I only say that from personal experience. I know gay women.
they don't all wear
They
flannel
wear
shirts.
jeans and flannel shirts. They don't all, but the ones I know do.
Yeah.
So it's a stereotype. The point is, I'm joking about stereotypes.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah, we're
my
having a
point in
good
the
time.
beginning was, how do you know it's gay if gay people just look like you and me?
Yeah.
And the answer is, it's in the gay bar district. So we're all settled here.
Yeah, we're
I
all
think.
good. We're all good.
I look forward to all of your emails and possibly getting canceled by next episode. It'll be
That's
great.
right. That's right. What's the Grand Slam is the same for me as it is for a gay dude. All right, at Denny's,
Yeah.
we all get the grand.
Anyway, it's the
The
place
Grand
to go. The amount of times I played
I'm glad you
D&D
brought this
session
up.
and went to Gay Denny's is frequent.
It's usually
So,
me that
anyways,
brings
back
this
to
up.
answering my question. Yes, I would probably prefer to go with Handsome Black because I just like that better. But I would go with Rainbow Black.
Handsome
as
Black
a
is
second.
pretty good. All
I
both
have
of those
the
names.
arrogance
Black
to back
sounds
up.
cooler. That sounds like a super villain.
They're cyberpunk
like it.
names. Both of those are cyberpunk names. I love them.
Yeah, but Handsome Black makes people uncomfortable, and I kind of like that a bit more than I like Rainbow Black. It's like, I'm Handsome Black. They're like, what? It's like, it's not
I
racist.
get it.
It's
You
the
want to
game-
be
it's the name I
you want to
got.
be more provocative. I get it. I get it.
Can't wait to hear
And
the
on
next.
that thing too, I didn't answer the question with the Game Pass.
Oh,
I would
yeah,
pay
yeah.
$0.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Wait.
because how much would you pay if the price went up or whatever? And I was like, I don't pay anything. By the way, that's
Because
what
you're
I'm-
currently not paying for Game Pass.
I haven't been subbed for over a year now.
Yeah. And I love Game Pass. I would really like it not to go up, but if it did, I would probably understand a $5 increase. What I would hope actually is the more basic level, maybe that goes up, and they try to keep Ultimate at 15 would be nice. But I don't know if they're
I'm
going
going to
to
be
that.
thinking about gay Denny's all night now.
Oh yeah, dude. I want to go to Denny's now. Now I'm hungry for Denny's.
I want
I'm
Denny's
telling you,
too.
it was good. Like, look, it was a drive to get to Gay Denny's, but that was the Denny's to go to. So
Yeah.
That good quality
what we did.
Denny's.
The good
Yeah,
Denny's, yeah.
like
Yeah.
everybody there. I don't know if it's because of the clientele. I don't know if it's because it had a reputation. It was always very popular. Like it's just most Denny's you go to, it's like, okay, this is good for 1 a.m., but that was legitimately good. Like it made me want to go there.
Huh.
I
Well-
kind of want to go there too.
Well,
They
I just-
tried.
It's the first
Which is
thing in
more than you
Arizona
can
I've
say
heard of
about
that
a
I'm
lot.
like, I would like to fly and see this.
You'd like to
thing
go
now.
to Arizona? Well, besides John, you'd like to see John.
I mean, the
Well,
problem
besides
is
John, but
that
I mean
it's
tourist
mostly, like I
attraction.
said, it's
Yeah.
just like a Denny's.
Yeah, or Genny's.
But
Jenny's.
but you'll enjoy your food and you'll have a good time.
Wait, Genny's or Jenny's? Did they shorten it? Do we know?
Denny's.
Because
Denny's.
that leads into the GIF argument. If you're calling it Genny's,
No, it's a J. They spelled it with a J in the
they
thread. I
did
read.
spell it with a J. Interesting.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
still supports GIF then, is what I'm getting at.
You're like, we better keep calling it GIF. That's all I know.
That's all I know for sure. I ain't doing this GIF business. All right, that's gonna do it for
Scott
those.
Johnson writes in a magazine, the gays are coming for our hard G's.
That's right. I do want to, before we get out of here, I do want to thank you guys for your feedback. Your emails are great. Your texts are great. talktothecore@gmail.com is the email address. The number to send your text to is 801-471-0462. And we love them. So keep them coming, please. That'd be great. I'd like to mention some patrons we got this week. For some reason, we got a big influx in the last time since we last talked,
Nice.
which is great.
Congratulations to you.
Patreon.com/core show is the place to go. And the new folks are Jack the Knife, Xavier Payne, Sean Chaplin, or Chapman rather, Bad Buddha, and
I
Bill
like Bad Buddha's
Edwardson.
new album.
This whole crew sounds like supervillains, but also Sean Chapman.
Yeah, kind of.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
He's
do.
an
They,
X-Man. He's a new X-Man.
he's like, what's the lady's name for the Suicide Squad that's in charge of everybody?
Harley Quinn.
No,
Are you talking about Amanda Waller?
Amanda Waller is so funny to me
Yeah.
because everybody else is called, wacky names across the board, but Amanda Waller runs the joint. That's the Sean Chapman.
your pain.
Dude, she's great.
You know,
She's great.
I'm Jack the Knife.
So yeah.
I'm Bad Buddha.
Bad.
Yeah, but what
And
about
Bill
Bill
Edwardson.
Edwardson? Bill Edwardson's pretty normal.
Well, that's where you gotta go, like the pirate Bill Edwardson.
oh,
Like you gotta put a
Edwardson,
title
yeah.
on there: Pirate Captain Bill Edwardson, Bad Buddha, Xavier Payne, Jack the Knife, Sean Chapman.
and then leader of the group, paid by the government, Sean Chapman. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. If you want to be like them, you will get no less than this. No commercials ever. You'll never have to hear an ad on this show. You'll get pre-show content every single week, and we always have really great long pre-show conversations. And tonight was no different. So
Except for Denny's.
Except
You're
for
gonna
Denny's.
Get an ad for Denny's, whether you wanted it or
yeah,
not.
whether you like
get
Denny's or not, Gay Denny's is here for you. Monthly benefits that you can only find out if you go read what's over there. Patreon.com/core show. For everything else, frogpants.com/core. All right. We have this old lady who likes to tell us what we played this week. So,
Oh, right.
yeah,
That's
it's her
me.
turn to belly up to the bar and tell us, hey, Grandma, what did we play on today's core show? Whatever we watched, whatever we did. What did we do?
All right, some of you don't remember the games they talked about, and that's okay. I don't remember a lot of things myself. But they all played sort of Overwatch 2 and Marvel Snap. That's 2/3 on one, and that's 100% on the other. Scott also played Red Dead 2. That's Red Dead Redemption. That's a video game. He also played Despot's Game and Void Scrappers. That's the one that kept making him say the word scrap over and over again. So if you thought, wow, he's sure saying scrap a lot, Void Scrappers. He played Hunt Down, which was the Genesis-looking doohickey that he played. John played a shitload of stuff, but not very, very long. But those games are Project Zomboid, 7 Days to Die, Signalis, Curse of the Dead Gods, Return of the Obra Dinn, and of course he's still playing Fortnite because they put Star Wars in it. Bo played Walking Dead Saints and Sinners in the virtual reality. So if you want to play something in the virtual reality, that's what he played.
Grandma, can we go to Gay Denny's?
Yes.
I want to go.
Load
I
up.
want to go to Gay Denny's.
Get in the car. We're going to Gay
I want a
Denny's.
Gay Whopper.
A Whopper? You got the wrong. That's Gay Burger King.
Man, you gotta go to Gay Burger King for that, man.
You got to go to the Gay Burger King. I'm sorry.
You're barking up the wrong tree for that one.
Oh, Gay Wendy's. We'll meet in the middle. Go to Gay Wendy's. All right, that's it. Thanks everybody for watching, for listening, for hanging out, for supporting us, for being a part of this, and all you live people, you're amazing too. Thank you all very much. Go play some video games. We'll be back next time with more right here on Core.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
I'll bruise your ego.
Oh.
I sure hope we